The moment Jiang Mingyu stepped into the office, he shut the door behind him with a calm click, like he owned the place. He smiled as if they were old friends meeting for tea. "Chi-mei, we've known each other for years. Do you really have to treat me like a stranger?" Chi-mei didn't even look up from her desk. Her voice was flat, cold. "We're not friends. You're not welcome here. Get out." Jiang Mingyu's smile didn't change, but something in his eyes tightened. He acted wounded anyway, like she'd said something cruel. "That's harsh." He walked forward without permission and stopped at her desk. Both hands pressed onto the polished surface as he leaned in, invading her space on purpose. "Let's talk properly." "I have nothing to say to you," Chi-mei replied, the words clipped. For a second, annoyance flashed across his face. Then he forced it down, smoothing his expression into that same polite mask. "Fine. Then I'll talk." He tilted his head, voice confident and deliberate. "You know your company is in trouble. In the last few months, your product sales have dropped hard. If this continues, Huamei won't just struggle. It will collapse." Chi-mei finally raised her eyes to him, gaze sharp. "So what?" "Dingxing only stole the market for now. Once Huamei releases a better product, we'll take it back." Jiang Mingyu chuckled, like she'd just said something cute. "Better product," he repeated. "Chi-mei, you're still dreaming." He straightened slightly, enjoying this. "Our formula isn't something you can beat with effort. We bought a beauty secret recipe from an ancient Chinese medicine family in the capital. That's why our product dominates." Chi-mei's fingers tightened around the pen on her desk. So that was it. The capital's old medicine families weren't normal business partners. They were monsters. The kind that didn't even bother responding to calls from local companies. She'd tried reaching out before and got nothing but silence. And the Jiang family actually got in. Jiang Mingyu watched her expression shift and smiled wider. "Also," he added casually, "I know you've been talking to the Qin family in Ning City. They want to sell you a beauty recipe, right?" Chi-mei's eyes narrowed. "How do you know that?" He lifted his chin, smug. "In Jiang City, there isn't much I don't know." Then he delivered the next blow, slow and clean. "And I'll be honest. The Qin family can't compare to the capital family we worked with. Their recipe won't match ours." He tapped the desk lightly, like he was explaining a simple math problem. "Even if you buy it, even if you launch it, you still lose." Those words hit like ice water. Chi-mei had fought hard for that deal. If he was right, she'd spend a fortune and still watch the market slip away. Jiang Mingyu saw the hesitation in her eyes and savored it. This was what he wanted. Not just victory. Control. He sighed dramatically, pretending to be reasonable. "Chi-mei, we don't have to be enemies. We can be partners." Chi-mei's voice stayed guarded. "What do you mean?" Jiang Mingyu's smile turned lazy, confident. "Break off your engagement with Yang Luo. Marry me." He said it like it was a fair trade. "If you're my wife, I'll share the secret recipe. We combine Huamei and Dingxing, dominate the entire cosmetics market in Jiang City. Then we expand. Other cities. The whole country." His eyes locked on hers. "Isn't that what you've always wanted?" For a heartbeat, the offer tempted her. It was everything she'd worked for: growth, scale, influence. Then reality cut in. She knew exactly what kind of man Jiang Mingyu was. Dirty private life. Women used and discarded. Scandals buried by money. Lives ruined, and the Jiang family sweeping it all under the rug. She would rather burn her company down with her own hands than marry him. Chi-mei drew a slow breath. "Jiang Mingyu, I'm engaged. My fiancé is Yang Luo. I won't marry you. Give it up." His face darkened, pride snapping. "Why?" he spat. "How am I worse than that mountain kid?" He leaned forward again, voice rising. "He can fight a little. Knows some medical tricks. That's it. He has no money. No status. No power. What can he give you?" Chi-mei didn't flinch. "Maybe not now," she said evenly. "But he will. He'll rise. He'll become someone people look up to." Jiang Mingyu stared at her like she'd insulted him. Then he laughed, cold and mocking. "Rise? With what? That kid already offended the Eastern Alliance. He's dead sooner or later." Chi-mei's jaw tightened. With the Su family behind him, they won't touch him. Jiang Mingyu's sneer sharpened. The Eastern Alliance has King Jinnan behind them. Do you really think the Su family can protect him? He leaned in, voice low, poisonous. You know how strong King Jinnan is. Even if every family in Jiang City joined forces, they couldn't fight him. He pointed a finger slightly, like a warning. So here's my advice. Cut ties with Yang Luo before he drags your whole family down with him. Su Qimei slammed her palm onto the desk and stood up. Enough. Her eyes were icy. You don't get to speak about my family. I'm not canceling the engagement. Now get out. For a moment, Jiang Mingyu just stared, breathing heavier. Then his hand went to his tie, and he yanked it loose, frustration spilling out. Fine, he hissed. The mask finally cracked. He took a step toward her. Su Qingmei's face changed instantly. She backed away, voice sharp with alarm. What are you doing? Don't come any closer. What do you think I'm doing? Jiang Mingyu's smile turned ugly and predatory. Su Qimei, I've been trying to court you properly, but you keep humiliating me. Fine. Then I'll use another method to get you. Once it's done, you won't have a choice. You'll have to marry me. Su Qingmei's face drained of color. She backed away fast, voice shaking. Take one more step, and I'll scream for help. Help! Jiang Mingyu laughed under his breath. My men are right outside. No one's coming in. He advanced, seized her wrist, and shoved her down against the desk. Help! Somebody help me! Her eyes were wide with panic as she screamed. Stop it. No one can save you now. Jiang Mingyu's grin twisted as he reached for her clothes. Then, bang! The office door exploded inward, kicked open with force. A tall figure strode in like a blade drawn from its sheath. Yang Luo. Su Yan rushed in behind him. Outside the doorway, Jiang Mingyu's bodyguards were already down, groaning on the floor. President Su. Su Yan cried out, frozen by the sight. Jiang Mingyu clicked his tongue, annoyed, and released Su Qimei as he stepped back. Yang Luo's gaze locked onto him, cold and sharp. The air in the room seemed to drop several degrees as a brutal killing intent rolled off him. 1 second later, and Su Qimei would have been harmed. Fiancé or not, she was still his. And if he couldn't protect her, what kind of man was he? The commotion drew employees from the corridor, footsteps and voices gathering outside. Yang Luo spoke without turning his head. Assistant Su, guard the door. Don't let anyone in. Why yes. Su Yan swallowed hard, rushed out, and shut the door tight. The moment the latch clicked, Yang Luo started forward. Step by step. With every step, the pressure in the room grew heavier, like the air was being crushed out of it. Jiang Mingyu's confidence cracked. What are you doing? Don't come any closer. I'm the Jiang family's young master, the top family in Jiang City. If you touch me, you're dead. No one can protect you. His breathing turned ragged as he stumbled backward, sweat breaking out. He still remembered yesterday how Yang Luo had put Xiao Sudong on the ground like it was nothing. Yang Luo's voice was ice. Jiang family? I don't care who you are. You dared to lay hands on my woman. You're looking for death. I'll fight you. Jiang Mingyu roared, charging in. He wasn't a true martial warrior, but he'd trained enough to handle a few men. Just not Yang Luo. The moment Jiang Mingyu threw a punch, Yang Luo lifted a hand casually and caught his fist in midair, like stopping a child. Then he twisted. Crack. The sound snapped through the office. Jiang Mingyu's arm broke cleanly. Aya! His face contorted as he screamed, but Yang Luo didn't pause. He drove a kick into Jiang Mingyu's chest. Thud! Jiang Mingyu flew backward like he'd been fired from a cannon, slammed into the wall, and slid down bonelessly. He curled on the floor, retching bile, wailing nonstop. Yang Luo walked over, raised his foot, and stomped down on Jiang Mingyu's thigh. Crack! The leg snapped too. The scream that followed was even worse, loud enough to carry outside. In the hallway, Su Yan and the employees stood stiff and trembling, hearing the cries but not daring to move. Inside, Yang Luo reached down, grabbed Jiang Mingyu by the throat, and lifted him up. Jiang Mingyu was bigger, heavier, half a head taller. It didn't matter. In Yang Luo's hand, he hung like a stray dog. Jiang Mingyu met Yang Luo's eyes and nearly stopped breathing. That wasn't anger. That was the look of someone deciding whether to kill. His face turned red as he rasped, You can't kill me. If you kill me, you're finished too. The Su family will be finished. Su Qimei finally jolted out of her shock. She rushed forward and clutched Yang Luo's arm, eyes red and shaking her head. Yang Luo, don't kill him. If you do, you'll lose your life too. Her pleading hit him like cold water. The murderous pressure faded, the hostility in his chest loosening. Killing Jiang Mingyu would be easy, but it would drag Su Qimei and the Su family into disaster. Yang Luo exhaled. All right, I'll listen to you. He carried Jiang Mingyu to the door, yanked it open, and threw him out into the corridor. This time, because of Qimei, you live. But if I ever see you again, I will kill you. Now get out. Bang! The door slammed shut. Outside went dead silent. Su Yan and the employees stared at Jiang Mingyu sprawled on the floor, crying and shaking, like they couldn't believe what they were seeing. The bodyguards scrambled up, lifted him in a panic, and fled down the hall. As soon as they were gone, the corridor erupted. What happened? Young Master Jiang got beaten like that. Who is that guy? He's insane. He dared to touch young Master Jiang. That's President Su's new assistant, isn't it? The whispers spread fast. Su Yan's expression turned sharp. She raised her voice. No one talks about what happened today. Everyone back to work. Now. The employees, still stunned, scattered back to their desks. Su Yan pushed the office door open and stepped inside. President Su, what happened? Su Qimei sat on the sofa, staring ahead, as if her mind was still trying to catch up. Yang Luo sat beside her, his tone gentle now. You're safe. Tell us what happened. Su Qimei took a shaky breath and explained everything. By the time she finished, Su Yan's anger exploded. That Jiang Mingyu is disgusting. How could he do that to you? President Su, should we call the police?
Hey everyone, Firescale Audiobooks here. If there's a novel you'd love to hear more of, you can support us on Patreon or Ko-fi. Depending on your tier, I'll make extra parts just for the stories you're most excited about. Usually I can only upload 4 to 5 parts of each novel, but with your support, we can go beyond that. And of course, don't forget to hit subscribe. It helps more than you know.
Jiang Mingyu is the young master of the Jiang family. Do you think it's useful to call the police? Su Qimei sighed and said, Moreover, Jiang Mingyu has already been taught a lesson. He probably won't dare to do this again in the future. President Su, is what Jiang Mingyu said true? Did Dingxing Biomedical really buy the secret recipe from an ancient Chinese medicine family in the capital? Su Yan quickly asked. It's probably true. Su Qimei nodded. President Su, what should we do now? Su Yan looked anxious and said, the secret formula that the Qin family wants to sell us is definitely not as good as the secret formula provided by the ancient Chinese medicine families in the capital. Moreover, what Qin family is providing is not a complete recipe, but a remnant recipe. Even if we produce new products, we won't be able to compete with Dingxing Biomedical. Su Qimei frowned and said, we can only take it one step at a time now. We urgently need to produce new products to stabilize the market before we go looking for other recipes. Then, Su Qimei changed the topic and asked, by the way, how did you get President Li to return the money? Previously, we urged him a few times, but President Li said that he had no money. How did it go so smoothly today? This is all thanks to Assistant Yang. Su Yan did not hide anything and told Su Qimei what had happened at the Four Seas Trading Company. After hearing Su Yan's words, Su Qimei blinked in shock. She looked at Yang Luo in disbelief. You know how to catch ghosts? Yang Luo chuckled and said, President Su, didn't one say that there's nothing I don't know? Hearing this, Su Yan, who stood by the side, looked over in shock. What did he mean? Could it be that Yang Luo had other abilities? Where did President Su hire such an expert? Su Qimei teased, Yang Luo, although you don't understand business, you're quite good at collecting debts. How about this? I'll leave all the debts to you in the future. Huh? Yang Luo said helplessly, President Su, it's better not to let me do such unskilled things. It's boring. Oh? You want to do something technical? Su Qimei nodded in realization and said to Su Yen, bring Yang Luo to visit the company now. By the way, see if there's anything you can't handle. You can leave it to him. I protest. Yang Luo raised his hand and howled. Objection overruled. Su Qimei blinked playfully and said, you're a core employee of our company. You have to work hard for the company. Yang Luo was speechless. Getting engaged to this woman was a trap. Seeing Yang Luo's embarrassed look, Su Yen couldn't help but laugh. However, she also realized that President Su seemed to treat Yang Luo differently from the other employees. In front of the other employees, President Su was stern and cold. But in front of Yang Luo, President Su actually showed the cuteness of a little woman. Could it be that Yang Luo was really President Su's lover? Su Qimei waved her hand and said, Su Yen, quickly bring this guy out and let him understand the company better so that he can serve the company better in the future. Yes, President Su. Su Yen responded and left the office with Yang Luo. At the same time, Dragon Bay Manor. There were mountains and rivers, green trees. The environment was serene. There were many bodyguards in black guarding outside the manor. The person living here was the leader of the Eastern Alliance, Jiang Tianlong. At this moment, in the main hall of the manor, Jiang Tianlong, who was wearing a black Chinese tunic suit and had white hair at his temples, sat in the main seat. On both sides of the seats were a few upper echelons of the Eastern Alliance. Xiao Sudong stood respectfully in front of Jiang Tianlong and reported what had happened at the Cloud Peak Hotel yesterday. Jiang Tianlong already knew what happened at the Cloud Peak Hotel yesterday, however, he had yet to find out about the details of the matter. After hearing Xiao Sudong's report, the senior executives of the Eastern Alliance flew into a rage. That kid called Yang Luo really doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth. Not only did he injure someone from our Eastern Alliance, but he also dared to threaten Master Long. He really has a death wish. The person who spoke was a burly middle-aged man with a thuggish face. This burly man was Gao Zhenhu, the leader of the 5 heavenly kings of the Eastern Alliance. His nickname was Black Tiger. However, that kid is the son-in-law of the Su family. I'm afraid it will be a little troublesome to kill him. Zhang Yansheng, one of the 5 heavenly kings with the nickname Violent Bear, added. So, what if it's the Su family? Is our Eastern Alliance afraid of the Su family? If the Su family dares to stand up for that kid, we'll destroy them. Master Long, with King Jinnan backing us up, we don't have to be afraid of these dog*T families at all. Just let me kill that kid. Among the 5 heavenly kings, the berserk lion Wang Jingquan and venomous snake Li Dongqing also spoke up. Jiang Tianlong raised his hand to silence the raucous crowd. He then looked at Xiao Sudong and asked, Sudong, what do you think of that kid's strength? Xiao Sudong replied, very strong. How strong? Jiang Tianlong asked again. Xiao Sudong groaned, that kid has the ability to instantly kill me. He's very likely a Khanate Realm martial warrior. What? Khanate Realm martial warrior. That's impossible. Old Xiao, that kid is only in his 20s. How can he be a Khanate Realm martial warrior? Old Xiao, don't tell me you're deliberately exaggerating that kid's strength because you lost to him? Gao Zhenhu and the others spoke one after another. They didn't believe it at all. Even Jiang Tianlong didn't believe it. After all, he was also a Khanate Realm martial warrior. It was also because he had King Jinnan's guidance that he had stepped into the Khanate Realm. Otherwise, he would probably never have been able to step into this realm. But now, Xiao Sudong said that a kid in his 20s had a Khanate Realm cultivation? He really did not believe it. Xiao Sudong said, if you don't believe me, you can go and test him out for yourself. In short, I'm not exaggerating. That kid is really strong. In front of him, I can't fight back at all. Upon hearing this, Gao Zhenhu and the others quietened down. They were still skeptical about his strength, but they could not argue further. Jiang Tianlong frowned and fell into deep thought. There was a long silence before he looked up again. Jiang Tianlong spoke out, if this kid really has a Khanate Realm cultivation, then our Eastern Alliance has to rope this person in at all costs. What? Master Long, you want to rope that kid in? Gao Zhenhu was stunned. Wang Jingquan said anxiously, Master Long, that kid injured so many of our brothers. We can't let him off so easily. Right now, we have to do our best to recruit talents. Only then can King Jinnan pay more attention to us and let us manage more industries. Jiang Tianlong said indifferently before continuing, of course, it still depends on whether that kid knows how to adapt to the situation. If he knew what was good for him and was willing to join the Eastern Alliance, the past grudges could be written off. Of course, if he doesn't know what's good for him, we'll kill him. As he spoke, Jiang Tianlong instructed Xiao Sudong, find some time to invite that kid over. Yes, Master Long. Nodded in response. At the afternoon, around 3 p.m. At the entrance of Hua Mei Biomedical, Su Qimei led a group of higher-ups and waited quietly at the door for the Qin family to arrive. They had been waiting here since around 2 o'clock. They had been waiting for a full hour, but the Qin family had yet to arrive. President Su, is there a need to mobilize so many people? Yang Luo asked unhappily. Su Qimei replied, the Qin family has come all the way to Jiang City, so we naturally have to treat them with respect. Yang Luo frowned and said, but the key is, didn't the Qin family say that they would arrive at 2 o'clock? It's already 3 o'clock, but they haven't arrived yet. Aren't they playing with us? That's right. I think the Qin family is clearly doing this on purpose. Su Yan also added in unhappily. In fact, many of the higher-ups of Hua Mei Biomedical were also dissatisfied. Su Qimei sighed and said, there's nothing we can do. After all, we have a favor to ask of them now, so let's bear with it. Yang Luo narrowed his eyes and said, then I want to see what kind of secret recipe the Qin family will provide us that is worth us waiting for. At the same time, in the Lu family villa, in a room on the second floor, Huang Tian and Chao Jixing were checking Lu Changhe's body. Lu Changhe was lying on the bed. His face was pale and his body was thin. He looked like he was on the verge of death. Everyone from the Lu family surrounded him, not daring to even breathe loudly. Not long after, Huang Tian and Chao Jixing finished their examination. Divine Dr. Huang, Divine Dr. Chao, how is my father? Lu Zhanhua quickly asked. The rest of the Lu family looked at Huang Tian and Chao Jixing expectantly. Huang Tian frowned and said, Old Master Lu's aura is weak, his pulse is weak, and his internal organs are failing, but I can't diagnose what illness old Master Lu has. Chao Jixing muttered, Old Huang, do you think it's the 5 turbidities? That's highly possible. Huang Tian nodded. Lu Zhanhua asked in confusion, Divine Dr. Chao, what is the 5 turbidities? Chao Jixing replied, the 5 decay of heaven and man refers to dirty clothes, withered hair, sweaty armpits, smelly body, and a lack of happiness, the 5 abnormal phenomena that appear when one's lifespan is about to end. What? When one's lifespan is about to end. Divine Dr. Huang, Divine Dr. Chao, please think of a way. Divine doctors, as long as you can cure my father, our Lu family will definitely heavily reward you. Everyone from the Lu family spoke up one after another and immediately panicked. Lu Changhe was the backbone of the Lu family. If Lu Changhe died, the Lu family would definitely be greatly affected. Lu Changhe opened his mouth and said weakly, Divine Dr. Huang, Divine Dr. Chao, please save me. Huang Tian sighed and said, Old Master Lu, I'm really sorry. There's nothing we can do. Chao Jixing also shook his head and said, even the immortals have their hands tied against the 5 turbidities. No, Grandpa won't die. There must be a way, there must be a way. Lu Yue and Lu Yuding burst into tears. The other members of the Lu family were also in despair. Lu Zhanhua also pleaded, please think of another way, divine doctors, please. Huang Tian pondered for a moment and said, a few days ago, I got to know a divine doctor. Perhaps he has a way to save old Master Lu. Old Huang, now that you mention it, I remember too. Chao Jixing's eyes lit up. A few days ago, I also got to know a divine doctor. His medical skills are very brilliant, far above mine. Moreover, I've already acknowledged him as my master. If my master makes a move, old Master Lu will probably be saved. Hearing Huang Tian and Chao Jixing's words, the Lu family was overjoyed. Lu Zhanhua hurriedly said, Divine Dr. Huang, Divine Dr. Chao, please quickly invite those 2 divine doctors over. If those 2 divine doctors can cure my father, I will definitely thank them heavily. The other members of the Lu family nodded eagerly. All right, I'll contact him and see if this divine doctor is willing to come over. I'll contact my master too. Hence, Huang Tian and Chao Jixing took out their phones and started making calls. At this moment, at the entrance of Hua Mei Biomedical, seeing that the Qin family had yet to arrive, Yang Luo became even more impatient. At this moment, his phone rang. Yang Luo took out his phone and saw that it was a call from Huang Tian. So it was this old man. The call connected. Yang Luo asked, "Mr. Huang, why are you calling me?" "Divine Dr. Yang, currently, a friend of mine is seriously ill in bed and his situation is critical. I want to ask you to save him. I wonder if it's convenient for you now." Huang Tian's voice came from the other end of the phone. "Yes, of course." Yang Luo replied and asked, "Tell me, where are you now?" Huang Tian replied, "The Lu family's villa." "The Lu family's villa?" Yang Luo was surprised for a moment, but quickly understood what was going on. It seemed that the friend Huang Tian was talking about was Lu Changhe. If he calculated the time, it was at the point that Lu Changhe was about to die. What's wrong? Huang Tian was very puzzled at his tone. Yang Luo covered it up quickly, "Nothing. I'm coming over now." Huang Tian was very happy, "Thank you, Divine Dr. Yang." However, just as Yang Luo hung up the phone, another call came. Looking at the caller ID, he realized that it was Chao Jixing. Strange, why did that fat old man call too? Yang Luo was very puzzled, but he still picked up the call. "Master, a life is at stake. A life is at stake." The moment the call went through, Chao Jixing's voice was heard. "What do you mean, a life is at stake? What happened?" Yang Luo asked curiously. Chao Jixing said, "Master, I have a friend who is in a critical condition and needs immediate treatment. I hope you can save him." "You also have a friend who's dying?" Yang Luo was instantly dumbfounded. Chao Jixing was a little confused. "What do you mean?" Hearing his confusion, Yang Luo waved it off. "Nothing. Tell me, where are you?" Chao Jixing replied, "Master, I'm at the Lu family villa." Hearing this, Yang Luo's mouth twitched. Great, so Huang Tian and Chao Jixing were talking about the same person. Got it. 1 foot 11 inches come over now. Yang Luo immediately agreed and hung up. The reason why he agreed to go to the Lu family's villa was not to save Lu Changhe, but to see Huang Tian and Chao Jixing. He had already decided to take these two old men as his disciples and let them help him collect medicinal herbs. Since the two of them were together, he did not have to look for them one by one. In any case, he did not want to serve the Qin family. He could find an excuse to slip away. At this moment, a convoy finally arrived. At the front was a black Rolls-Royce, followed by a few Mercedes-Benz. The convoy quickly stopped at the entrance of Hua Mei Biomedical. The car doors then opened and a group of people got out of the car and walked over. It was the Qin family. The leader was a middle-aged man with a medium build who was wearing a gray tailored cloth shirt. Seeing the Qin family arrive, Su Qimei led a group of higher-ups and hurriedly went up to them. Yang Luo followed and asked Su Yan in a low voice, "Assistant Su, who is that middle-aged man?" Su Yan replied softly, "That middle-aged man is Qin Haixing, the third brother of the current head of the Qin family, Qin Lichuan. He's also the representative sent by the Qin family this time." "Oh." Yang Luo nodded in realization. "Welcome to Hua Mei Biomedical, Mr. Qin." Su Qimei smiled and extended her hand to Qin Haixing. "Sorry to keep you waiting, President Su." Qin Haixing also extended his hand. Although Qin Haixing said that, his expression was arrogant and he had no intention of apology on his face. The other members of the Qin family also had contempt in their eyes. They looked down on the people from Hua Mei Biomedical. After all, they came from an ancient Chinese medicine family in Ning City, and their ancestors were imperial physicians from the previous dynasties. Therefore, no matter where they went, they would be treated as distinguished guests. Therefore, they had the right to be proud. Su Qimei smiled and shook her head. "Mr. Qin, we only waited for a while. By the way, the hotel has already been booked. After we're done talking later, everyone can go straight to the hotel to rest." As she spoke, Su Qimei gestured for them to enter. "Everyone, please come in." Then, Su Qimei led Qin Haixing and the others towards the company. However, Yang Luo did not follow her in. He shouted at Su Yan, "Assistant Su, come here for a moment." "Assistant Yang, what's wrong?" Su Yan walked over. "One have something urgent to attend to at the Luo family, so I won't be going up with you." Yang Luo replied and took the document and pen from Su Yan's hand. He opened the document and found a piece of white paper. Yang Luo picked up a pen and wrote a secret recipe on the paper. Then he handed the document and pen to Su Yan. "Assistant Su, this is a beauty secret recipe," one wrote. "If President Su and the Qin family's negotiations fail later, give this secret recipe to President Su." Assistant Yang. Just as Su Yan was about to ask, Yang Luo hurriedly ran to the side of the road, hailed a taxi, and left the company. She opened the document and looked at the secret recipe that Yang Luo had just written. She muttered, "Could this really be a beauty secret recipe? Since Assistant Yang said so, 1 foot 11 inches show it to President Su later." As she spoke, Su Yan quickly closed the document and walked into the company. At this moment, in the company lobby, "Mr. Qin, do you want to visit our company first?" Su Qimei asked Chen Haixing. "What's there to see about a small company?" A gorgeously dressed young woman behind Chen Haixing suddenly spoke out. Upon hearing this, Su Qimei couldn't help but frown, feeling a little displeased. Although Hua Mei Biomedical had yet to expand beyond Jiang City, its scale was not small. Now that someone was looking down on her company, she was naturally unhappy. However, Chen Haixing did not blame the woman. Instead, he said calmly, "President Su, forget about the tour. Let's get down to business." "All right then." Su Qimei nodded. Soon, Su Qimei led everyone to the elevator and arrived at the meeting room on the 29th floor. When they entered the meeting room, everyone took their seats. Su Qimei also instructed a few employees to pour tea. After the conference room door closed, Chen Haixing took a sip of tea and said, "President Su, one won't beat around the bush with you. As long as you can afford it, 1 foot 11 inches sell you the beauty secret recipe passed down from our Qin family's ancestors." Mr. Qin is indeed straightforward. Su Qimei nodded and said, "Then how much is Mr. Qin looking at?" Chen Haixing raised 5 fingers. 50 million? Su Qimei was stunned. The budget price in her heart was 100 million. If she could buy this secret recipe with 50 million, she would have saved 50 million. Chen Haixing shook his head and said, "President Su, my price is not 50 million, but 500 million. Just as he finished his sentence, the people from Hua Mei Biomedical went into an uproar. "What? 500 million? 500 million is too much. This is simply extortion. President Su, you have to think about it." Everyone from Hua Mei Biomedical spoke one after another. Su Qimei frowned as well. The price in her heart was 100 million, but the other party was now asking for 500 million. This was far beyond her budget. Moreover, based on their accounts, the company could not fork out so much money right now. Chen Haixing narrowed his eyes and said, "President Su, we came all the way from Ning City with sincerity. I hope President Su won't let us down." Su Qimei took a deep breath and said, "Mr. Qin, we want to take a look at the secret recipe first and see if it's worth this price." "That's not a problem." Chen Haixing nodded. Then, he took out a password box and entered the password. Soon, Chen Haixing opened the password box and took out a piece of golden cloth, handing it to Su Qimei. In any case, the secret recipe only stated the name of the herbs. As for the quantity of the herbs, the concoction method, and other important information, it was all withheld. That was why he dared to show the secret recipe to Su Qimei and the others. Su Qimei took the golden cloth and took a look, but she couldn't understand it. Hence, she handed the golden cloth to the research team. The research and development team began to browse through the secret recipe recorded on the golden cloth. A few minutes later, a middle-aged man wearing glasses said, "President Su, this is indeed the secret recipe of the previous dynasty's beautifying product, the 8 whites powder. It is rumored that the empress and noble consorts of the previous dynasty had also used this secret recipe. This is a precious recipe. However, this recipe is only an incomplete piece. It's a pity." This middle-aged man was the leader of the R&D team, Lu Huajun. Chen Haixing said proudly, if this 8 whites powder is complete, then our price won't be just 500 million, but at least 1 billion. Su Qimei said, Mr. Chen, we sincerely want to buy this secret recipe. One hope the price can be lower. Lu Huajun also smiled and said, Mr. Chen, we hope to establish a long-term cooperative relationship with the Chen family, so... Chen Haixing directly interrupted, 500 million is already the lowest price. We can't go any lower. Well, Su Qimei pursed her lips and fell into a dilemma. The smile on Lu Huajun's face froze as well. This Chen Haixing was too unreasonable. There was no room for negotiation. If you can't afford it, then don't buy it. It's not like you're the only company that wants to buy our secret recipe. Since you don't have money, why did you even ask to buy the secret recipe? You made us run so far. The other members of the Chen family sneered, their eyes filled with disdain and mockery. The expressions of Su Qimei and the others turned even uglier. If it wasn't for the fact that they had a favor to ask of them, they wouldn't have taken such a humiliation lying down. Since you can't fork out the money, forget it. Chen Haixing said disdainfully, then stood up and said, let's go. As he spoke, Chen Haixing prepared to leave with the Chen family. Su Qimei hurriedly shouted, Mr. Chen, wait. We can discuss further. However, Chen Haixing and the others had no intention of staying. Su Qimei revealed a bitter expression. She didn't expect the negotiation to fall through in the end. The upper echelons of Hua Mei Biomedical also let out dejected expressions. They were finished. If he couldn't buy a new secret recipe, then Hua Mei Biomedical would really be finished this time. At this moment, Su Yan thought of what Yang Luo had said before she left and hurriedly said, President Su, want to have something for you. What is it? Su Qimei looked puzzled. Su Yan hurriedly took out a piece of paper from a document and handed it to Su Qimei. Su Qimei took the paper and glanced at it, but she couldn't understand what was written on it. However, Lu Huajun, who was sitting at the side, glanced at the content written on the paper and was shocked. He hurriedly exclaimed, President Su, let me see. Su Qimei handed the paper to Lu Huajun. Lu Huajun looked at it carefully a few times. Immediately, his entire body trembled and his breathing quickened. He could not help but exclaim Is this the secret formula of the youthful jade countenance serum? What? Youthful jade countenance serum. Is it really that secret recipe? The other members of the R&D team also surrounded him. When they saw the secret recipe written on the paper, the group members were so excited that their faces turned red. It's really the youthful jade countenance serum. It's really true. A team member shouted excitedly. One didn't expect that one, Lu Huajun, would be able to see the real youthful jade countenance serum secret formula one day. No more regrets, no more regrets. Lu Huajun was so excited that his eyes turned red with emotions. Team leader Lu, is this secret recipe very precious? Su Qimei hurriedly asked. Precious, of course it's precious. Lu Huajun tried his best to calm himself down. He explained, this is a beauty secret recipe used by the Empress of the Han Dynasty, Zhao Fian. The reason why Zhao Fian could maintain her peerless appearance for so many years was because of this secret recipe. However, because that era was simply too long ago, this secret recipe had long been lost. Currently, there were many imitations of the youthful jade countenance serum recipe on the market, but even if they are imitations, their effects are extremely powerful. I did not expect the real youthful jade countenance serum to still exist in this world. As the saying goes, money is easy to obtain, but it is far harder to find the perfect soulmate. This secret recipe is priceless. Hearing Lu Huajun's words, Su Qimei was taken aback. Zhao Fian was the empress of the Han Dynasty, and tales of her peerless beauty had been passed down to this day. In the idiom beauty is in the eye of the beholder, the phrase plump ring referred to Yang Yuhuan, while the phrase slim sparrow refers to Zhao Fian. TL note, this one is tricky because the original idiom when translated is plump ring, slim sparrow. It means that different people will have different perceptions of beauty, hence one took the liberty to change the idiom into something more logical. Unexpectedly, this piece of paper recorded the beauty secret recipe used by Zhao Fian. Su Yan's mouth hung open in shock. She didn't expect that what Yang Luo casually wrote down was really a beauty secret recipe, and it was so precious. At this moment, Chen Haixing and the others who had walked to the door stopped when they heard the exclamations from Lu Huajun and the others. Chen Haixing, in particular, hurried over. His face was full of smiles. He rubbed his hands and said, "Mr. Lu, can I take a look?" Lu Huajun turned to look at Su Qimei and said, "Mr. Su, although this secret recipe has the names of the medicinal herb, the details of how to concoct it are not written down. There's no harm in letting Mr. Chen take a look." Su Qimei nodded and said, "Then let Mr. Chen take a look." Lu Huajun handed the secret recipe to Chen Haixing. Chen Haixing quickly took the secret recipe and read it. The few elders of the Chen family also quickly surrounded him. A few minutes later, "Oh my god, it's really the secret recipe of the Youthful Jade Countenance Serum, it really is. I didn't expect to see the real Youthful Jade Countenance Serum recipe one day. I can die without regrets." The few elders of the Chen family cried out in surprise. All of them were actually so emotional that they started to tear up. Chen Haixing was also trembling with excitement. Words could no longer describe the excitement and shock in his heart. He was certain. This was the true recipe of the Youthful Jade Countenance Serum. Chen Haixing hurriedly returned the secret recipe to Su Qimei and asked, "President Su, may I first ask where this secret recipe came from?" "President Su, with such a precious secret recipe, why are you buying a secret recipe from us?" "That's right, this recipe is countless times stronger than our 8 whites powder." The few elders of the Qin family were very puzzled. Su Qimei also turned around in a daze and questioned, "Su Yan, where did you get this secret recipe?" Swoosh! 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 Instantly, everyone's gazes turned to Su Yan. Facing so many fiery gazes, Su Yan panicked. "Aya, why are you in a daze? Tell me quickly." Lu Huajun was a little anxious. Su Yan quickly said, "Assistant Yang gave me this secret recipe." "Assistant Yang? Which Assistant Yang?" Lu Huajun looked puzzled. The other higher-ups of Hua Mei Biomedical were also puzzled. Su Qimei said, "Su Yan, you said that this secret recipe was given to you by Yang Luo?" "Yes." Su Yan nodded and said, "Assistant Yang said that if the negotiation with the Chen family fails, I was to hand this secret recipe to you." Su Qimei was felt speechless. A few days ago, when she told Yang Luo about the company's predicament, Yang Luo said that it was not a problem at all. At that time, she thought that Yang Luo was bragging and was unreliable. She did not expect Yang Luo to actually be able to hand her such a precious secret recipe. "President Su, who is Assistant Yang?" Lu Huajun asked Su Qimei. Su Qimei said, "His name is Yang Luo. He's my new assistant." Lu Huajun said anxiously, "Then where is he now? Hurry up and call him over." This Assistant Yang is definitely not an ordinary person to be able to take out such a secret recipe. "Su Yan, where did Yang Luo go?" Su Qimei asked Su Yan. She didn't see Yang Luo just now and thought that he had gone to the washroom instead. Su Yan said, "Assistant Yang seems to have gone to the Lu family to do something." Without waiting for Su Qimei to speak, Chen Haixing said excitedly, "Since Mr. Yang knows the secret formula of the Youthful Jade Countenance Serum, it's very likely that he knows the complete secret formula of the 8 whites powder. President Su, I hope you can take us to see Mr. Yang. I'll be very grateful." Lu Huajun also added, "President Su, why don't we go together? One also want to know if this secret recipe really came from Mr. Yang." "All right, let's go together then." Su Qimei nodded in agreement. Then, everyone in the meeting room got up and left the company. They got into their cars and went straight to the Lu family's villa. Just as Su Qimei and the others were rushing to the Lu family's villa, Yang Luo had already arrived there quite a while ago in a taxi. After getting out of the car, Yang Luo stood at the entrance of the villa and thought of the first day he came to the Lu family's villa. To think he would be back here again. He wondered what the Lu family would look like when they saw him again. A cold smile flashed across Yang Luo's lips before he walked into the villa. When he arrived at the villa's lobby, there was no one there, but there were sounds coming from upstairs. Yang Luo went straight upstairs. However, just as Yang Luo went upstairs, he saw Lu Yue walking out of a room. When she saw Yang Luo, Lu Yue was stunned for a moment before she roared angrily, "Bastard, what are you doing here?" Yang Luo said indifferently. Someone invited me over, of course. Bullsh asterisk T. Who would invite you here? Lu Yue immediately scolded. You're really shameless. Get lost. At this moment, the commotion outside also alarmed the people in the room. Everyone in the room hurried out. Lu Yuding was the first to come out. When she saw Yang Luo, she immediately roared, You dog, who allowed you to come here? One feel nauseous just looking at you. Hurry up and get lost. Kid, you're not welcome here. Scram. You little B asterisk starred. Didn't you get involved with the Su family? Why are you still here? Scram, 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 scram. I'm angry just looking at you. Lu Zhanhua and He Xinlan also ran out and shouted. Why are you still not getting lost? The other members of the Lu family also shouted and tried to chase Yang Luo away. They had lost all face at the Su family's engagement banquet yesterday. They naturally didn't dare to blame the Su family, so they vented all their anger on Yang Luo. But right at this moment, Divine Dr. Yang, I've been waiting for you for a long time. Master, you're finally here. Huang Tian and Chao Jixing cried out in surprise at the same time. They squeezed through the Lu family and rushed over. However, after running in front of Yang Luo, Huang Tian and Chao Jixing were stunned at the same time. They turned to look at each other. Old Chao, how do you know Divine Dr. Yang? Huang Tian turned to Chao Jixing in confusion. Old Huang, I should be the one asking you this. How do you know my master? Chao Jixing also had a head full of fog. Huang Tian said, One met Divine Dr. Yang 3 days ago. One also saw Divine Dr. Yang treat old Master Su with my own eyes. Chao Jixing said, I also met Divine Dr. Yang 3 days ago. At that time, because of Divine Dr. Yang's help, I was able to treat a patient who went into shock because of food allergies. Huang Tian looked at Yang Luo and said gloomily, Divine Dr. Yang, I was the one who acknowledged you as my master first. Why didn't you accept me as your disciple? Instead, you took Chao Jixing as your disciple. Chao Jixing said proudly, That's because Divine Dr. Yang thinks that I have more potential. What nonsense. Huang Tian was furious. My medical skills are better than yours. Even if Divine Dr. Yang takes in a disciple, he should only take me in as a disciple, not you. Seeing that Huang Tian and Chao Jixing were both fighting to be Yang Luo's disciple, the Lu family was dumbfounded. Li Wei's face turned pale as she asked, What's going on? Could it be that the Divine Dr. Huang and Divine Dr. Chao want to hire is this dog? Impossible. This is absolutely impossible. Why is it him again? Janice shook her head in a daze. She was about to go crazy. The other members of the Lu family also had ugly expressions. They never expected that Huang Tian and the Divine Doctor that Chao Jixing mentioned were actually the same person, and it was Yang Luo. Moreover, looking at Huang Tian and Chao Jixing's attitude towards Yang Luo, it was as if they were students meeting a teacher. They could not be more respectful. Huang Tian and Chao Jixing were the No.I and number 2 Divine Doctors in Jiang City. Who could make them treat the person so respectfully? Seeing that the two old men were about to argue, Yang Luo was caught between laughter and tears. All right, stop arguing. Huang Tian hurriedly said, Divine Dr. Yang, don't take this guy as your disciple. Take me as your disciple. Divine Dr. Yang, don't take old Huang as your disciple. Take me in. Chao Jixing also hurriedly spoke up. Yang Luo smiled and said, Mr. Huang, Mr. Chao, after a few days of consideration, I've decided to take you two as my disciples. As soon as these words were spoken, Huang Tian and Chao Jixing were stunned at the same time. Then, they trembled with excitement. Yang Luo had finally agreed to take them in as his disciples. He finally agreed. Master, please accept this disciple's bow. Chao Jixing knelt down on one knee. Huang Tian was not to be outdone. He knelt on one knee as well. Hey, get up quickly. Yang Luo hurriedly helped Chao Jixing and Huang Tian up. Master, do you have a grudge against the Lu family? Only then did Huang Tian remember the Lu family's attitude towards Yang Luo just now. He frowned and tentatively asked. Chao Jixing also looked at Yang Luo in confusion. Yang Luo nodded. There are conflicts and they can't be resolved. I'm not here to save Lu Changhe. I'm here to look for you. Hearing this, Huang Tian and Chao Jixing's expressions changed drastically. Huang Tian immediately turned around and looked at the Lu family coldly. If I had known that you had a grudge with my master, one wouldn't have come at all. Chao Jixing also said coldly, only my master can treat Lu Changhe's illness now. Since my master is unwilling to treat him, let Lu Changhe wait for death. They all knew that Yang Luo was not a heartless person. Otherwise, Yang Luo wouldn't have saved old Master Su and Lin Chaoshuan's wife 3 days ago. Since Yang Luo was unwilling to save Lu Changhe, the Lu family must have offended Yang Luo to death. Huang Tian said respectfully to Yang Luo, Master, let's go. All right. Yang Luo nodded and prepared to leave. At this moment, Lu Zhanhua gritted his teeth and said, Kid, even without you, we have other ways. Third Master Chen of Ning City has already arrived in Jiang City. I've already asked him to treat my father. Third Master Chen is from the Qin family, an ancient Chinese medicine family in Ning City. His medical skills are superb. He will definitely be able to cure my father. Bastard, do you really think that you're the only divine doctor? You dog, Third Master Chen's medical skills will definitely crush you. Lu Yue and Lu Yuding spoke up one after another, their faces full of pride. Third Master Chen? Are you talking about Chen Haixing? Huang Tian immediately laughed and said, Chen Haixing's medical skills are indeed not bad, but he can't treat Lu Changhe at all. Moreover, not to mention Chen Haixing, even if the head of the Qin family, Qin Lichuan, came, he wouldn't be able to cure Lu Changhe. As soon as these words were spoken, everyone in the Lu family felt even more despair. Was what Huang Tian said true? Even Third Master Chen couldn't cure Lu Changhe? Lu Yue said hatefully, even if Third Master Chen can't treat my grandfather, we can still hire a better doctor to treat him. That's right. China is so big. There are many divine doctors. Lu Yuding added. Yang Luo only glanced at Lu Changhe in the room before indifferently speaking out. Lu Changhe only has an hour to live. Can you invite other divine doctors here in an hour? An hour? How's that possible? Son of AB asterisk TCH, stop trying to scare me. Who do you think you are? You think you can tell people to die whenever you want? The Lu family did not believe it at all. I'm telling the truth. Believe it or not. Yang Luo shrugged and turned to leave. However, at this moment, chaotic footsteps came from outside the villa. Everyone present looked up and saw a large group of people running in. It was Su Qimei, Chen Haixing, and the others. Yang Luo. Su Qimei shouted as she hurried upstairs. The others followed along with her. President Su, why are you here? Yang Luo revealed a weird expression. Su Qimei hurriedly handed a piece of paper to Yang Luo and asked, Did you write this secret recipe? That's right. Yang Luo nodded. What's wrong? Is there a problem? Lu Huajun said, Assistant Yang, the secret recipe you provided is the legendary Youthful Jade Countenance Serum. Is this recipe very valuable? Yang Luo asked in confusion. Lu Huajun said, This recipe can no longer be measured with value. It's a priceless recipe. Oh. Yang Luo nodded in realization. Back then, when the old fart taught him the immortal Doctor Classics, he told him that every secret recipe recorded in it could be sold for an astronomical price. At that time, he didn't believe it and felt that the old man was bragging. Now that he heard Lu Huajun say this, he finally believed his old man. Is it really the Youthful Jade Countenance Serum? Can I take a look? Huang Tian and Chao Jixing walked over. Lu Huajun handed the recipe to Huang Tian and Chao Jixing. After a few glances, both of them revealed excited expressions. Huang Tian sighed in admiration. It's indeed the Youthful Jade Countenance Serum. I didn't expect to see such a famous item in my lifetime. Chao Jixing nodded and said, however, since it was provided by my master, it's not strange. Master? Lu Huajun was stunned. Divine Dr. Huang, Divine Dr. Chao, Assistant Yang is your master? That's right. Huang Tian said proudly, Divine Dr. Yang's medical skills are far better than ours. Just now, Divine Dr. Yang had already taken us in as his disciples. Upon hearing this, Lu Huajun, Chen Haixing, and the others looked at Yang Luo in shock. Since this young man could make Huang Tian and Chao Jixing acknowledge him as their master, his medical skills were definitely impressive. By the way, why are they here? Yang Luo glanced at Chen Haixing and the others. Suyen walked over and whispered to Yang Luo about what had happened at the company. In a flash, Yang Luo immediately understood everything. He looked at Chen Haixing and asked indifferently, "You want me to help you complete the 8 whites powder recipe?" "Yes, Mr. Yang." Chen Haixing nodded repeatedly with a smile on his face. "Mr. Yang, as long as you can help us complete the secret formula of the 8 whites powder, our Chen family is willing to pay you 100 million. One had to know that the 8 whites powder was passed down from the ancestors of the Chen family. However, because only the remnant recipe was left, it was a huge loss to the Chen family. Therefore, their Chen family had been searching for the complete recipe of the 8 whites powder, but they had nothing to show for it all this while. Now that they knew that Yang Luo was very likely to help them complete the 8 whites powder recipe, they naturally did not want to miss this opportunity. 100 million? Yang Luo sneered and said, "Mr. Chen, Assistant Su said that you're selling the remnant recipe of the 8 whites powder for 500 million yuan to Hua Mei Biomedical. And now, you want me to help you complete the recipe of 8 whites powder, but you are only willing to give me 100 million. Isn't your scheme too good?" Chen Haixing gritted his teeth and said, "Mr. Yang, as long as you can complete the secret formula of the 8 whites powder, I'm willing to pay you 500 million. It's still not enough." Yang Luo shook his head. "Then how much do you want?" Chen Haixing frowned and asked. 1 billion. Yang Luo spat out those 3 words. "What? 1 billion?" The corner of Chen Haixing's mouth twitched. He was really frightened by the sum. "Kid, you're clearly asking for an exorbitant price." The Chen family members shouted angrily. "Extorting an exorbitant price? How dare you criticize me? Who was the one who was demanding an exorbitant price just now?" Yang Luo sneered and said, "As long as you can afford it, I will help you complete the 8 whites powder recipe. If you can't afford it, then forget it." If the Chen family had a good attitude towards Su Qimei previously, it would be fine even if he did not take a single cent. However, Su Yan said that ever since the Chen family arrived at Hua Mei Biomedical, they had always put themselves high up in the air. They looked down on Su Qimei and Hua Mei Biomedical. That was why he had offered a price of 1 billion yuan. It was to return the favor to them. The senior executives of Hua Mei Biomedical were also dumbfounded. What was the situation now? Were they not supposed to buy over the secret recipe from the Chen family? Why did it become the Chen family buying the secret recipe from them now? However, seeing the Chen family suffer, they felt relieved. The Lu family members at the side felt as if they had been struck by lightning. They were all dumbfounded. A secret recipe could actually be sold for 1 billion? After all, even if all the assets of the Chen family were added up, they were only worth a couple of billions at most. Thinking of this, the Lu family regretted their actions. In particular, Lu Changhe, who was lying on the bed, felt like his heart was being cut by a knife. One wrong step would lead to many mistakes. If they hadn't chased Yang Luo away and cancelled the engagement 3 days ago, Yang Luo would have been their son-in-law. Not to mention Yang Luo's medical skills, even if Yang Luo casually took out a few secret recipes, it would be enough for their Lu family to soar high up. And now, they had offended Yang Luo time and time again. Their relationship could no longer be reconciled. Lu Yue's face was pale as well. She felt like the world was spinning and she could barely stand. It turned out that Yang Luo was actually this capable. Zhao Tianheng was probably not even 1/10,000th of him. He was originally her fiancé. However, because she judged him based on his appearance, she had chased him away. She really regretted it. She regretted it to the extreme. At this moment, Chen Haixing took a few deep breaths and said, "I can't handle this. I have to ask the family head." As he spoke, Chen Haixing quickly walked to the side and made a call to the head of the Chen family. After hanging up, Chen Haixing walked over and said, "Mr. Yang, the family head said that if you can really help us complete the secret formula of the 8 whites powder, our Chen family is willing to pay you 1 billion. The head of the family told him over the phone that he could proceed with the payment, and he had to rope in this divine doctor. "All right." Yang Luo nodded. "Give me a piece of paper and a pen." Chen Haixing quickly handed over a pen and paper. Then, without even thinking, Yang Luo wrote down a secret recipe and handed it to Chen Haixing. Take a look and see if this is the complete secret recipe for the 8 whites powder. Chen Haixing quickly picked up the paper and started to scrutinize it. The few elders of the Chen family also quickly surrounded him. A few minutes later. Oh my god. Although I've never seen the complete secret recipe for the 8 whites powder, this kid seems to have really completed it after adding around 10 more medicinal herbs. Without a doubt, this must be the complete recipe of the 8 whites powder. Its effect should be at least 10 times stronger than the remnant. Recipe. We have finally completed the recipe of the 8 whites powder. My ancestors, you can rest in peace. The few elders of the Qin family cried out in surprise, tears of excitement welling up in their eyes. The higher-ups of Hua, Mei Biomedical, also looked at Yang Luo with shock in their eyes. The Qin family was an ancient Chinese medicine family and was very proficient in Chinese medicine. Naturally, they would not mistake the secret recipe of the 8 whites powder. They were very confused at this moment. Where did President Su recruit such a strange person? Moreover, this extraordinary person was willing to be a small assistant? Su Qimei also looked at Yang Luo in a daze, her heart in turmoil. All of this guy's bragging had come true. Yang Luo's eyes were calm, as if he had done something unimportant. He only spoke out calmly, since you've confirmed it, hurry up and transfer the money. Chen Haixing nodded excitedly. All right. I'll transfer the money now. Mr. Yang, please give me an account number. Yang Luo did not hesitate and gave Chen Haixing his account. Not long after. Ding! Yang Luo's phone rang with a text notification. 1 billion yuan has been received. This made the Lu family even more jealous. 1 billion yuan was earned so easily. Mr. Chen, my father is in a lot of pain right now. Please take a look at him. At this moment, Lu Zhanhua walked over and spoke with difficulty. Chen Haixing looked puzzled. Divine Dr. Huang and Divine Dr. Chao are both here. Divine Dr. Yang is also here. Could it be that they can't cure your father? Well, Lu Zhanhua opened his mouth, but he did not know how to answer. Chen Haixing looked puzzled, but he remembered that he had promised to help take a look, so he walked into the room and diagnosed Lu Changhe. A few minutes later, Chen Haixing walked out and shook his head. Mr. Lu, old Master Lu, is already suffering from the 5 turbidities. His lifespan has already reached its end. Forgive me for being helpless, but let's prepare for his funeral. Hearing this, the Lu family members fell into complete despair. Huang Tian couldn't cure him. Neither could Chao Jixing. Now, even Chen Haixing could not cure it. However, the only person who could cure him, Yang Luo, was not willing to. No, Grandpa won't die. Father can't die. Father can't die. There must be a way. There must be a way. Everyone in the Lu family was in a daze. They looked as though they had suffered a huge blow. At this moment, Lu Changhe, who was lying on the bed, said in a hoarse voice, Yang Luo, on account of me knowing your master back then, please help me. As long as you can save me, I'm willing to offer half of the Lu family's assets. Zhanhua, Yue, Yuding, kneel down and apologize to Yang Luo. Mr. Yang, please save my father. Lu Zhanhua directly knelt down. Yang Luo, I shouldn't have said that about you. I shouldn't have scolded you or despised you. One was wrong. I was really wrong. Please save my grandfather. Yang Luo, you're a good person. Please save my grandfather, okay? Lu Yue and Lu Yuding both knelt down and cried. The rest of the Lu family also knelt down and began to beg Yang Luo. However, Yang Luo only looked at the Lu family coldly. There was no emotion in his eyes. Seeing them cry and hearing their pleas, he only felt disgusted. If he did not possess this set of brilliant medical skills, if he had not crushed their arrogance time and time again, these guys would not apologize to him at all. He was not a saint. He would not have any mercy or pity for his enemies. Yang Luo didn't say anything else. Instead, he turned around and walked downstairs. Su Qimei and the others were also silent as they followed Yang Luo downstairs. Lu Zhanhua, Lu Yue, and Lu Yuding were still pleading at the back, but Yang Luo did not look back and left very decisively. At this moment, in the room, Lu Changhe spat out a large mouthful of blood. Then he collapsed straight onto the bed. His eyes were wide open with regret and unwillingness. He had completely stopped breathing. Father! Grandpa! Everyone from the Lu family shouted and rushed into the room. The entire Lu family fell into chaos. Meanwhile, after walking out of the villa, Chen Haisheng looked at Su Qimei and said excitedly, Mr. Su, Mr. Yang, if your company uses the secret formula Youthful Jade Countenance Serum to produce products, it will definitely become a hot topic in the entire Jiang city and even other cities. I can already predict that a phenomenal product will be born on the market. So, President Su, one think we can establish a long-term partnership. If you want to enter Ning City's market in the future and look for partners, you can prioritize our Chen family. The other members of the Chen family also looked at Su Qimei and Yang Luo expectantly. They could all imagine how popular the new products produced by Hua Mei Biomedical would be. Su Qimei smiled and said, Mr. Chen, if we enter the Ning City market one day, one will definitely prioritize the Chen family. All right. One look forward to your and Mr. Yang's arrival. Chen Haisheng nodded happily. Su Qimei suggested, Mr. Chen, why don't we have dinner together tonight? I'm sorry, I'll have to decline. Chen Haisheng shook his head repeatedly and said, one have to hand over the complete recipe of the 8 whites powder to the family head as soon as possible. How about this? The next time you and Mr. Yang come to Ning City, let's have a good gathering. Su Qimei nodded and said, in that case, one won't keep Mr. Chen. Chen Haisheng expressed his gratitude to them once more, then got into the car with the rest of the Chen family and left the Lu family villa. After the Chen family left, Su Qimei asked Yang Luo, are you going back to the company now? Yang Luo said, Elder Huang, Elder Chao, and I still have something on, so we won't be going back. All right, come back early when you're done. Su Qimei responded and left in a car with the higher-ups. After watching Su Qimei leave, Yang Luo looked at Huang Tian and Chao Jixing and said, Mr. Huang, Mr. Chao, I have something to talk to you about. Huang Tian said, then let's go to my clinic. All right. Yang Luo nodded. After that, Yang Luo and Chao Jixing got into a Mercedes-Benz driven by Huang Tian and left the Lu family villa. After driving for nearly half an hour, they arrived at a medical center in the center of the city. This medical center was quaint and had 3 floors. It occupied a large area, yet kept its old charms. The plaque was engraved with 3 bold and powerful words, Ancient Life Hall. The Ancient Life Hall was a medical center founded by Huang Tian. There were many chain stores in Jiang City, and this was their flagship store. After parking the car, Yang Luo, Huang Tian, and Chao Jixing got out of the car and walked straight into the clinic. Esteemed Mr. Huang, as soon as they entered the clinic, the doctors and staff of the clinic hurried to welcome them. Mr. Chao, why are you here? A doctor asked in surprise. Chao Jixing chuckled and said, one have something to discuss with Elder Huang. As for Yang Luo, he was directly ignored by them. In their opinion, Yang Luo should be a clerk at Chao Jixing's medical center. Huang Tian said, go do your own things. We'll go upstairs. Remember, don't disturb us unless it's especially urgent. Yes. The doctors and staff nodded in assent. Then Yang Luo followed Huang Tian and Chao Jixing upstairs to a study on the 3rd floor. The study room was also designed with an antique vibe in mind. There were posters of acupuncture points on the wall and various famous paintings. On a bookshelf was neatly stacked with books and various antiques. Of course, what attracted Yang Luo the most was a bronze statue placed in the corner. After sitting down, Huang Tian brewed a pot of tea and poured a cup for Yang Luo and Chao Jixing. Yang Luo took the teacup and took a sip. Then, he pointed at the bronze man and asked curiously, Elder Huang, is this the acupuncture bronze figurine? Master, you really have good eyesight. Huang Tian smiled and said, this is indeed an acupuncture bronze figurine, but this is not an authentic acupuncture bronze figurine. I merely ordered someone to imitate it. Chao Jixing joked, how could this old man have a genuine artifact? Currently, the only acupuncture bronze figurine in China is kept in a Chinese museum. Oh, Yang Luo nodded in realization. The original acupuncture bronze figurines were a creation of the Northern Song Imperial Physician King. Its height was similar to that of a normal adult. The front and back of the chest could be opened and closed, and the internal organs were carved out in the body. There were acupuncture points on the surface of the bronze man, and the name of each point was engraved beside the acupuncture point. At the same time, yellow wax was used to seal the acupoints on the bronze man's exterior, which were filled with water. If the acupuncture needle was inserted accurately, the needle would enter and the water would flow out. If the acupuncture point was not accurately positioned, the needle could not pierce through. The acupuncture bronze figurine was undoubtedly the best tool for Chinese medicine to practice acupuncture. Yang Luo suddenly thought of something and asked, "There seems to be more than one acupuncture bronze figurine, right? Where did the others go?" Huang Tian sighed and said, "There is indeed more than one acupuncture bronze figurine. In fact, there are 3 that are perfectly preserved. One of them is in our Chinese museum, and the other 2 are in Country Sakura and Country Kimchi. Of those 2, one was taken away by Country Sakura, and the other was bought by Country Sakura at a worldwide auction." "I see." Yang Luo slowly clenched his fists and said in a trembling voice, "The acupuncture bronze figurine is a treasure of our country. One day, I will let the other 2 acupuncture bronze figurines return to China." "Well said." Chao Jixing slammed the table and exclaimed, "The treasure that belongs to our country will one day return." Huang Tian also said agitatedly, "For this, our traditional Chinese medicine will work hard for the rest of our lives." After calming down, Huang Tian asked, "Master, what do you want to discuss with us?" Yang Luo took out a piece of paper and handed it to Huang Tian. "This is a prescription for alchemy. I'm currently collecting the herbs on it." Those items which had circles drawn around it had already been collected. Those who had no circles drawn were those who had yet to be collected. Therefore, I want to ask Elder Huang to help me gather the herbs on it. "Master, you know how to refine pills?" Huang Tian's eyes widened when he received the prescription. "I understand a little." Yang Luo nodded. Master is indeed not an ordinary person. Nowadays, there are only a few people in China who know how to refine pills. Huang Tian sighed and said, "Master, don't worry. I'll keep an eye out for you. If I find the herbs on this paper, 1 foot 11 inches, send them to you immediately." As he spoke, he thought for a moment and quickly got up. He took out a sandalwood box from the desk drawer and rushed over to hand it to Yang Luo. "Master, this is a 100-year-old ginseng given to me by an old friend of mine. It should be useful to you." Yang Luo took the box and opened it to take a look. As expected, there was an authentic Lu-year-old ginseng inside. Although the medicinal properties were far superior to ginseng that was less than 1,000 years old, it could also replace the ingredients used to refine pills. Yang Luo closed the box and said, "Elder Huang, I really need this 100-year-old ginseng. Name your price. I'll transfer the money to you now." Huang Tian waved his hands. "Master, how can I take your money? You're treating me like an outsider. If you need it, just take it." "All right, I'll accept it then." Yang Luo nodded. "Old Chow, don't you have a 100-year-old Lingji? Quickly take it out and give it to Master." Huang Tian said to Chao Jixing. Chao Jixing rolled his eyes and said, "One don't need you to tell me that. I've already given it to Master." Yang Luo smiled and said, "That's right. A few days ago, Elder Chao gave me that 100-year-old Lingji." Huang Tian shook his head and said, "You actually beat me to it." Chao Jixing chuckled and said, "That's why I'm the senior brother now, and you're the junior brother." "Old Huang, why aren't you calling me senior brother?" Huang Tian glared at him. "My medical skills are better than yours. There's no way you can be my senior brother." Seeing that the 2 old men were about to quarrel again, Yang Luo hurriedly interrupted, "Elder Huang, Elder Chao, since you've acknowledged me as your master, one naturally have to give you some pointers. Tell me, what do you want me to point out?" Upon hearing this, Huang Tian and Chao Jixing turned their heads at the same time and looked at Yang Luo with excitement. The reason why they were willing to acknowledge Yang Luo as their master was to obtain Yang Luo's guidance. Now that the opportunity was right in front of them, they naturally wanted to seize it. Huang Tian said, "Master, One learned an acupuncture technique called the 9 needles of revolving yang. Unfortunately, this acupuncture technique is incomplete. The last 3 needles were not recorded, so one could not learn the complete technique. Master, do you know anything about the 9 needles of revolving yang? Of course I do. Yang Luo smiled and said, I even know the complete 9 needles of revolving yang. Really? Huang Tian was extremely excited. He quickly stood up and bowed, Master, please guide me. All right, I'll teach you now. Yang Luo nodded and walked to the acupuncture bronze figurine that was 1.75 meters tall. Huang Tian and Chao Jixing followed behind. Yang Luo glanced at the acupuncture bronze figurine and said, Elder Huan, I'll use this acupuncture bronze figurine to demonstrate the 9 needles of revolving yang for you. Take a good look and learn. Yes, Master. Huang Tian nodded repeatedly and quickly brought over a box of silver needles. Yang Luo did not hesitate. Instead, he picked up a silver needle, slowed down, and shot it out. Swish! In an instant, the first silver needle stabbed firmly into an acupuncture point of the acupuncture bronze figurine. After the first needle was inserted, Yang Luo continued to perform the next few acupunctures without any hesitation. Swish! 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 Silver needles streaked across the sky and shone with a resplendent silver light as they accurately stabbed into each acupuncture point. By the time the 6th needle landed, Huang Tian was already so excited that his entire body was trembling. Initially, he had some doubts, but now he no longer had any doubts. Yang Luo really knew the 9 needles of revolving yang, and he was even more proficient than him, who had studied it for decades. At the thought that he could finally learn the last 3 needles, his eyes turned red. Chao Jixing was also full of admiration for Yang Luo. Although he was best at pharmacology, he was also proficient in acupuncture. It was just that he could not compare to Huang Tian. Yang Luo said loudly, Elder Huang, watch carefully. 1 foot 11 inches demonstrate the 7th needle now. Yes. Huang Tian nodded heavily. He widened his eyes and stared intently at Yang Luo's hand. Very quickly, Yang Luo's wrist shook lightly. Swish! The 7th silver needle shot out and pierced another acupuncture point. The 8th needle. Yang Luo picked up the 8th silver needle and flicked his wrist, shooting it out again. Swish! The 8th needle shot out and pierced the 8th acupuncture point with a sharp sound. The 9th needle. After the 8th needle landed, Yang Luo picked up the 9th silver needle and shot it out like the wind. Swish! The moment the 9th silver needle was shot out, it began to tremble. After stabbing the acupuncture point, the silver needle vibrated even more violently. Furthermore, after the 9 needles landed, a 9 halls diagram seemed to have appeared on the acupuncture bronze figurine. The 9 counters corresponded to the 9 halls. They were the Qian, Can, Zhen, Zhen, Zheng, Sun, Li, Kuan, and Dui halls. TL note, these are the terms for the 8 trigrams. The 9th is probably the center. Huang Tian was so excited that his face turned red, and his voice trembled. 9 needles of revolving yang. It's really the 9 needles of revolving yang. One didn't expect that I, Huang Tian, would be able to learn the complete 9 needles of revolving yang one day. Chao Jixing also felt his emotions surging. Yang Luo was proficient in traditional Chinese medicine and acupuncture. He was simply omnipotent. He suspected that there was nothing that Yang Luo did not know in the field of Chinese medicine. Elder Huang, how much have you learned? Yang Luo asked Huang Tian. Huang Tian said, Master, my comprehension is not good. I only learned 30%. It's already very good. Yang Luo nodded and continued, I'll demonstrate it again. Watch carefully. Yes, Master. Huang Tian responded and kept himself absolutely focused. Without any pause, Yang Luo demonstrated the techniques once more. How much have you learned? Yang Luo asked again. 60%. Huang Tian immediately replied. All right, continue. Yang Luo nodded and demonstrated again. And now? Yang Luo asked again. 90%. Huang Tian responded. Very good. Yang Luo smiled in satisfaction and said, Elder Huang, you can try now. Yes. Huang Tian took a deep breath and began to practice the last 3 needles of the 9 needles of revolving yang. Meanwhile, Yang Luo gave pointers from the side. When Huang Tian was completely familiar with it, Yang Luo called Chao Jixing over. "Elder Chao, what do you want me to teach you?" Yang Luo asked. Chao Jixing said, "Master, I've studied medicine all my life. Although I'm very proficient in this area, I still don't know much. One hope you can give me some pointers." "No problem." Yang Luo nodded and said, "I'll write down my insights and comprehension on Chinese medicine for you now. Comprehend it well. It should be helpful to you." All right. I'll have to trouble master then." Chao Jixing was extremely excited and quickly prepared a pen and paper for Yang Luo. Yang Luo sat in front of the desk, picked up the pen, and began to write. He simplified his experiences and sought to be as concise as possible. Therefore, it only took him half an hour to finish writing. After he checked it, Yang Luo handed the paper to Chao Jixing. Chao Jixing took the paper and sat at the side to study it. At first, he could not wrap his head around what was being written, but gradually, he understood what Yang Luo was and had a new understanding of his specialization. He was certain that if he could completely comprehend this insight, his understanding of Chinese medicine would definitely advance to a higher level. Seeing that Huang Tian and Chao Jixing were completely immersed in their own world, Yang Luo did not disturb them anymore and prepared to leave quietly. But at this moment, knock, knock, knock. There came a series of urgent knocks on the door. The knock on the door disturbed Huang Tian and Chao Jixing. "Didn't I tell you not to disturb us if there's nothing urgent?" Huang Tian looked unhappy. He strode to the door and opened it. The moment the door opened, he saw a doctor standing at the door. "Little Wu, what's the matter?" Huang Tian frowned and asked. Seeing Huang Tian flare up, Dr. Wu was so frightened that he wiped his sweat and said, "Mr. Huang, Mr. Hong has something urgent to tell you." "Mr. Hong?" Huang Tian was stunned. "Which Mr. Hong?" "Divine Dr. Huang, please save my father." At this moment, a tall young man with a stern face rushed up from downstairs. "Mr. Hong, what's the matter?" Huang Tian asked in confusion. The young man said anxiously, "Divine Dr. Huang, my father was practicing martial arts last night and forcefully broke through, causing serious damage to his body. He's in danger now. Please save my father, Divine Dr. Huang." "Alliance Master Hong is injured?" Chao Jixing walked over and asked in shock. "Divine Dr. Chao, you're here too?" The young man was immediately overjoyed. "That's great. Divine Dr. Huang and Divine Dr. Chao, please save my father." "Injuries due to cultivation? Could he be suffering from cultivation deviation?" Yang Luo curled his lips and said. "And this is?" The young man looked at Yang Luo in confusion. "Mr. Huang, let me introduce you. This is my and old Chao's master, Divine Dr. Yang Luo." Huang Tian introduced Yang Luo and then said to Yang Luo, "Master, this is the eldest son of the Martial Alliance Master of Jiang City, Hong Yunji. He is Hong Zikai." "What? This gentleman is your master?" "Divine Dr. Huang, are you joking?" Hearing Huang Tian's introduction, Hong Zikai was stunned, staring at Yang Luo in disbelief. In his opinion, Yang Luo was about the same age as him. How could he be the master of Divine Dr. Huang and Divine Dr. Chao? This was too unbelievable. "Mr. Hong, I'm not joking. Divine Dr. Yang is my and old Chao's master." Huang Tian said seriously, "Don't worry. With my master around, your father will definitely be fine. If even my master can't save your father, then no one can." Chao Jixing added. "Then, all right." Hong Zikai nodded, still a little skeptical. Huang Tian continued, "Mr. Hong, there's no time to lose. Let's set off now." Then, Yang Luo and the others got into a Range Rover driven by Hong Zikai and left the clinic. On the way, Yang Luo asked Huang Tian, "Elder Huang, what's the Martial Alliance?" "Master, have you never heard of the Martial Alliance?" Huang Tian was puzzled. "No." Yang Luo shook his head. Huang Tian explained, "Master, there are many martial warriors in our country. These martial warriors gathered and established an alliance of martial warriors, or Martial Alliance for short. There are martial alliance branches in every city that manage the various martial arts schools. I see. Yang Luo nodded. He did not expect China to have such an alliance. It was interesting. Hong Zikai said proudly, Mr. Yang, my father's cultivation is at the perfected Khanate realm, so he took the position of the alliance master of Jiang City's martial alliance. A perfected Khanate realm cultivator can take the position of the martial alliance's alliance master? Yang Luo asked curiously. Although Yang Luo was just asking casually, Hong Zikai felt a little uncomfortable hearing this. Mr. Yang, what do you mean? Hong Zikai frowned and asked. If not for Huang Tian and Chao Jixing, he would have lost his temper. Huang Tian quickly tried to smooth things over. Mr. Hong, don't be angry. My master probably doesn't know much about martial arts. Please forgive him. Hong Zikai snorted coldly and didn't say anything else. He refocused on driving. Yang Luo shook his head in amusement. After all, in his eyes, a Khanate realm martial warrior was really nothing. However, Yang Luo's smile made Hong Zikai even more unhappy. He tried his best to suppress his anger, unwilling to kick up a fuss. No matter how angry he was at someone who did not know martial arts, it was meaningless to explain. After driving for more than 20 minutes, they arrived at a dojo. The entire martial arts school was decorated in a retro style. It occupied a large area and looked magnificent, especially the plaque hanging on the lintel. The words Heavenly Path Martial Arts School were engraved on it. It was flamboyant and domineering. After the car stopped at the entrance, Hong Zikai hurriedly entered the dojo with Yang Luo and the other two. As soon as one entered the dojo, they would be able to see a huge martial arts arena. Many disciples in black training clothes were currently practicing there. Hong Zikai glanced at Yang Luo, wanting to see his expression. He originally thought that Yang Luo would be shocked by the scene in front of him. However, what puzzled him was that Yang Luo was too calm and was not affected at all. It seemed like he was indeed an ordinary person who did not understand martial arts. After passing by the martial arts arena, Hong Zikai brought Yang Luo and the other two to a room in the martial arts school. Upon entering, the first thing they saw was a middle-aged man in gray training clothes lying on the bed. This middle-aged man had short hair, white sideburns, thick eyebrows, and big eyes. He possessed an extraordinary temperament. However, the middle-aged man looked pale and weak at the moment, a shadow of his former self. This middle-aged man was the owner of the Tianxing Martial Arts School, the leader of the Martial Alliance in Jiang City, Hong Yunji. Brother Hong, you're back. A few disciples who were taking care of Hong Yunji quickly came up to him. Hong Zikai nodded and hurried to the bedside. Father, I've invited Divine Dr. Huang and Divine Dr. Chao over. You will definitely be fine. Hong Yunji turned his head slightly and said weakly, I'll have to trouble Divine Dr. Huang and Divine Dr. Chao. If the two of you can cure me, I will definitely thank you heavily. Alliance Master Hong, we're friends. There's no need to say these polite words. Huang Tian waved his hand and quickly walked to the bed to take Hong Yunji's pulse. A few minutes later, Huang Tian retracted his hand. Divine Dr. Huang, how is my father? Hong Zikai hurriedly asked. Huang Tian said, Alliance Master Hong is suffering from cultivation deviation, causing his meridians and internal organs to be severely damaged. If we can't treat him in time, Alliance Master Hong's life will be in danger. Chao Jixing also checked Hong Yunji's pulse to provide a secondary diagnosis. He frowned and said, Alliance Master Hong's condition is very dangerous now. We have to treat him quickly. Hong Zikai's expression changed drastically as he pleaded, Divine Dr. Huang, Divine Dr. Chao, please treat my father. Huang Tian turned to look at Yang Luo and said, Master, Alliance Master Hong's situation is too dangerous. Why don't you take action? That's right, Master. If we take action, there's not much hope of curing Alliance Master Hong. Chao Jixing also turned to Yang Luo. Little Kai, who is this? Only then did Hong Yunji notice Yang Luo. Just now, he thought that Yang Luo was just a medical staff brought by Huang Tian and Chao Jixing, so he didn't pay much attention to him. Hong Zikai said, Father, this is Mr. Yang. One heard that he is the master of Divine Dr. Huang and Divine Dr. Chao. What? Hong Yunji jolted up despite his injuries. This little brother is the master of divine. Dr. Huang and divine Dr. Chao. That's right, Alliance Master Hong. Huang Tian nodded and said, Divine Dr. Yang is my and old Chao's master. My master's medical skills are extraordinary, far superior to me and old Chao. As long as my master is around, you will definitely be fine. Hong Yunji frowned slightly, obviously not believing them. Divine Dr. Huang. Divine Dr. Chao, I'm more willing to rely on you. Please help me. That's right, Divine Dr. Huang, Divine Dr. Chao, it's better if you guys make a move. Hong Zikai also echoed. Obviously, he too trusted Huang Tian and Chao Jixing more. Yang Luo also shrugged and said, Elder Huang, just go ahead with the treatment. You can try the last 3 needles of the 9 needles of revolving yang. If anything really happens, I'll help you. The reason why he let Huang Tian try was because he knew that as long as Huang Tian completely utilized the 9 needles of revolving yang, he could cure Hong Yunji. Moreover, if he only practiced on the acupuncture bronze statue, the effect would not be too good. He still needed to practice on a real living person. Yes, master. Huang Tian nodded, feeling more confident. Then, he took out a box of silver needles from the first aid kit and asked Hong Zikai to take off Hong Yunji's top. After which, he began his acupuncture session. Thanks to Yang Luo's guidance, he was now more and more proficient in controlling the 9 needles of revolving yang. Hong Zikai and the other disciples were shocked when they saw his smooth actions. As expected of divine Dr. Huang, his acupuncture skills were indeed impressive. TL note, author initially wrote divine Dr. Chao, so I've taken the liberty to correct it to divine Dr. Huang. Yang Luo also nodded in satisfaction. Although Huang Tian's comprehension ability was not the best, it was not shabby either. Meanwhile, Chao Jixing busied himself, writing a prescription at the side. Soon, Huang Tian had already placed down 6 needles. Then, Huang Tian wiped the sweat off his forehead and began to perform the 7th needle. However, when Huang Tian picked up the 7th silver needle, his hands began to tremble, as if he was a little afraid. Upon seeing this, Yang Luo said in a clear voice, insert it straight on the upper star acupoint. Mr. Yang, please keep quiet and don't disturb divine Dr. Huang's acupuncture. Hong Zikai said in a low voice. A few martial arts disciples also gave Yang Luo unkind looks. They felt that Yang Luo was just causing trouble. Even Hong Yunji was also a little displeased. It was a taboo for doctors to be disturbed. But right at this moment, Huang Tian, who was originally afraid, seemed to have become a different person. His eyes flashed, and his hand moved like the wind, accurately landing the 7th needle. Furthermore, after the 7th needle was inserted, Hong Yunji's face turned ruddy and his breathing evened out. Hong Zikai and a few disciples from the martial arts school were shocked at the sudden change, turning to Yang Luo in a daze. Could it be that this young man was guiding divine Dr. Huang in his acupuncture? Could this young man really be divine Dr. Huang's master? But how is this possible? Just as Hong Zikai and the others were still reeling from the shock, Yang Luo's voice sounded again. 1 needle to the Higu acupoint to maximize the efficacy. Huang Tian quickly picked up the 8th silver needle and maintained an extremely high concentration. With a whoosh, the 8th needle landed. Only then did Hong Yunji, Hong Zikai, and the others confirm that Yang Luo was really guiding Huang Tian in performing acupuncture. Could it be that this young man's medical skills were really above Huang Tian's? Since when did Jiang City have such a young divine doctor? After the 8th needle landed, Yang Luo said in a sonorous voice, the 9 needles. Return to 1, all illness is eliminated. Huang Tian's eyes widened, and they became even brighter than before. Without any hesitation, he picked up the 9th silver needle and used all his strength to pierce the 9th acupuncture point on Hong Yunji's body. The moment the 9th needle landed, Hong Yunji's expression returned to normal and his heartbeat became stronger. A few minutes later, ugh! Hong Yunji let out a painful cry. He felt as if his dantian was on fire and was about to explode. Furthermore, Hong Yunji's lower abdomen began to turn red. The color became darker and darker, and it began to spread throughout his entire body. Divine Dr. Huang, what's going on? Hong Zikai immediately panicked. A few disciples also looked at Huang Tian anxiously. Just now, Hong Yunji's physical condition had clearly started to improve. Why was there suddenly a problem? Master this. Huang Tian was also dumbfounded and looked at Yang Luo in confusion. Yang Luo didn't say much. Instead, he walked directly to the bed and helped Hong Yunji up. He said in a deep voice, "Alliance Master Hong, do as I say next." Hong Yunji frowned slightly, not knowing what Yang Luo wanted to do. But now he was exhausted and could not resist. "Kid, what are you trying to do?" Hong Zikai and the others wanted to stop him, but they were stopped by Huang Tian. Huang Tian said in a low voice, "Trust my master. He won't harm Alliance Master Hong." Hong Zikai and the others gritted their teeth and stopped. "Sit cross-legged and concentrate your qi in your dantian." Yang Luo didn't explain further and spoke directly. Although Hong Yunji was dissatisfied after hearing Huang Tian's words, he began to do as Yang Luo said. "Fill yourself with qi, connect the circuit from top to bottom. Dragon and tiger intersect with each other. Refine the surrounding qi in the air. Comprehend the new, illusory to reality." Yang Luo continued to speak, every word powerful and forceful. Hong Yunji followed Yang Luo's instructions and started to cultivate. At this moment, Hong Yunji was pleasantly surprised. He understood at last. It turned out that Yang Luo was helping him break through to the next realm. Hong Yunji put down the doubts in his heart and began to focus on cultivating. At this moment, Hong Zikai and the others immediately felt a powerful aura erupt from Hong Yunji's body. Hong Zikai was the first to react. Could it be that his father was really breaking through to the next realm? Time continued to flow. Gather your energies to strike, your intentions fast as lightning. After Yang Luo finished his last sentence, he raised his right hand and slapped Hong Yunji's chest. After striking out with his palm, Yang Luo immediately retreated. Pfft. Hong Yunji opened his mouth and spat out a mouthful of black-red blood. "Kid, you dare to attack my father? You have a death wish." Hong Zikai roared angrily and was about to rush towards Yang Luo. "Halt!" Hong Yunji shouted and got off the bed. He then walked to Yang Luo, cupped his fists, and knelt down on one knee. "Thank you, Mr. Yang, for helping me break through. My gratitude cannot measure up to the grace you have shown today." At this moment, the entire room fell silent. Everyone looked at the scene in front of them in a daze. Hong Yunji, who was on the verge of death just now, could actually get out of bed and walk now? Furthermore, Hong Yunji's eyes were bright, his face was flushed, and he was in high spirits. He did not look injured at all. More importantly, Hong Yunji just said that Yang Luo was helping him break through. Yang Luo said indifferently, "I saw that you were about to break through, so I merely aided you. It was nothing." Hong Yunji stood up and said respectfully, "Perhaps this is nothing to Mr. Yang, but to me, it's a grace akin to rebirth. If not for Mr. Yang's help, not only would I not be able to recover from my injuries, but I would also never be able to step into the Grandmaster realm." "Father, you've reached the Grandmaster realm?" Hong Zikai's entire body trembled, and he was so excited that his breathing quickened. Hong Yunji nodded. "It's all thanks to Mr. Yang's help. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to reach the Grandmaster realm so easily." The few disciples were extremely excited, their faces turning red with joy. The president had finally stepped into the Grandmaster realm. He had finally stepped into the Grandmaster realm. Grandmaster realm was a qualitative leap for martial warriors. Once a martial warrior stepped into the Grandmaster realm, their future would be limitless, and they could progress much further. Moreover, now that the Alliance Master stepped into the Grandmaster realm, not only would his own reputation increase, but the prestige of the Heavenly Path Martial Arts School in the entire martial arts world of Jiang City would also increase. Hong Zikai was stunned for a while before he quickly walked forward and bowed deeply to Yang Luo. "Mr. Yang, please forgive me for offending you just now." "It's fine. I didn't take it to heart." Yang Luo waved his hand. "I really don't know how to thank you for your kindness, Mr. Yang." Hong Yunji sighed. Then he took out a bank card and handed it to Yang Luo. "Mr. Yang, there's 30 million yuan inside. Please accept it." I know you probably won't think much of this small amount of money, but this is a small token of my appreciation. In the future, if you need any help, you can contact me. I want to be friends with Mr. Yang. I hope Mr. Yang won't mind. Why would I look down on you? I'm also willing to be friends with Alliance Master Hong. Yang Luo smiled faintly, took the bank card, and put it in his pocket. Hong Zikai suddenly thought of something and said, "By the way, Father, I think someone gave you a 100-year-old Heavenly Mountain Snow Lotus previously. Why don't you give it to Mr. Young too?" Hong Yunji's eyes lit up, and he hurriedly said, "All right, hurry up and get it." Hong Zikai quickly left the room. After Hong Yunji left, Chao Jixing brought over a prescription and handed it to Yang Luo. He asked, although President Hong's injuries are almost healed, he still needs to recuperate. I wonder if this prescription is correct. Yang Luo took the prescription and looked at it. He said, "There's no problem overall. However, if we had 5 coins worth of Chinese Angelica root, 3 coins worth of white peony root, the effect would be even better." Chao Jixing thought for a moment and slapped his forehead. That's right. Why didn't I think of that? As he spoke, Chao Jixing quickly took the prescription and added both herbs that were mentioned. Seeing this scene, Hong Yunji's doubts were completely dispelled. This young man's medical skills were too amazing. He could definitely be the master of Divine Dr. Huang and Divine Dr. Chao. After the prescription was altered, Chao Jixing handed the prescription to Hong Yunji and said, "Alliance Master Hong, as long as you follow this prescription and take it every day, your body will completely recover in less than a week." Hong Yunji took the prescription and cupped his hands at Huang Tian and Chao Jixing. "Thank you, Divine Dr. Huang and Divine Dr. Chao. This is your reward. Please accept it." As he spoke, Hong Yunji wrote 2 checks for 10 million yuan and handed them to Huang Tian and Chao Jixing. Huang Tian waved his hand and said, "Alliance Master Hong, it's not old Chao and I who saved you today and helped you break through, but our master. Therefore, forget about the money." Chao Jixing also shook his head, unwilling to accept it. Hong Yunji pretended to be angry and said, "If the 2 of you don't accept me, you're not treating me as a friend." "Well," Huang Tian smiled helplessly and said, all right. We'll accept it." Hence, Huang Tian and Chao Jixing accepted the check. A hint of admiration appeared in Yang Luo's eyes. It seemed that Alliance Master Hong's personality was still straightforward. He was someone who remembered and would repay the kindness of others. Such a person was worth befriending. But right at this moment, a series of screams suddenly came from outside. This series of screams immediately alarmed Yang Luo, Hong Yunji, and the others. What happened? Hong Yunji was shocked and hurriedly walked out. Yang Luo and the others followed. Very quickly, Yang Luo and the others arrived at the dojo field. Many martial arts disciples were confronting a group of men in white training clothes with black belts around their waists. Moreover, many martial arts disciples were already lying on the ground and wailing. Seeing Hong Yunji come out, the disciples of the dojo were pleasantly surprised. After all, not long ago, the Alliance Master was injured from practicing martial arts and was lying on the bed, unable to get up. Unexpectedly, in just a few days, not only did the Alliance Master get out of bed, but he was also full of energy. He seemed to be in a better state than before he was injured. "Alliance Master!" All the disciples shouted respectfully and retreated to the side. "Father!" Hong Zikai clutched his chest and walked over. Blood was still flowing from the corner of his mouth. "Little Kai, are you okay?" Hong Yunji frowned and asked. "Father, I'm fine." Hong Zikai shook his head. "You say you're fine? You've got 3 broken ribs," Yang Luo said and walked forward. He raised his right hand and injected true qi into Hong Zikai's chest. He pressed down on the broken bone. Accompanied by crisp cracking sounds, Hong Zikai's 3 broken ribs were all mended, and his injuries were also healed. "Oh my God, my ribs healed so quickly." Hong Zikai was overjoyed. He cupped his hands and said, "Thank you, Mr. Yang." Yang Luo waved his hand, indicating that there was no need to thank him. A look of surprise flitted past Huang Tian and Chao Jixing's faces. "Master is really amazing." His bone reconnection technique is probably even better than old Han's. Huang Tian sighed. That's right. Chao Jixing nodded and said, when old Han comes back, 1 foot 11 inches definitely let him witness Master's bone reconnection technique. Let's see if he still dares to claim that his bone reconnection technique is the best in Jiang City. Alliance Master Hong, you're finally out. At this moment, from the opposing faction, the middle-aged man in the lead spoke. However, his Chinese was a little stiff and awkward. Yang Luo glanced at this middle-aged man and sensed his realm. He was at the perfected Khanate realm as well. Who are these guys? Yang Luo asked softly. Hong Zikai replied, Mr. Yang, these guys are from Ichiki Karate Dojo. The leader is the head of the school, Sato Taro. Oh. Yang Luo paused for a bit before coming to an understanding. Could they be from country Sakura? That's right. Hong Zikai nodded. Yang Luo nodded slowly in return. The hatred of the country and enemies that was engraved in his bones made him not have a good impression of the people of country Sakura. Sato Taro, you brought people to my place and injured my disciple. What do you want? Hong Yunji called out loudly. Sato Taro chuckled and said, I'm only here to spar with Alliance Master Hong. One hope that Alliance Master Hong can fulfill my wish. Hong Yunji said coldly, what's the point of sparring with a defeated opponent? Sato Taro shook his head and said, Alliance Master Hong, one lost to you last time because I wasn't prepared. I'm already prepared this time. One hope Alliance Master Hong can agree to this small request of mine. A week ago, he had come to challenge Jiang City once to establish his might in Jiang City. However, even though his cultivation level was on par with Hong Yunji's, he was defeated because Hong Yunji was stronger. This was a humiliation to him, making him very angry. He wanted to find some time later to get back at them. But this morning, he sent someone to find out that Hong Yunji had been injured while practicing martial arts last night. This made him very happy. Hence, he brought people to challenge Hong Yunji again. As long as he defeated Hong Yunji, he would be able to avenge his previous humiliation and make the name of Ichiki Karate Dojo resound throughout Jiang City. However, what made him puzzled was that Hong Yunji did not look as though he was suffering from any injury. Could it be that this guy was already injured and was just pretending to be calm? Sato Taro, you're too shameless. You came to challenge our Alliance Master when he was injured. What are your intentions? You're using such a despicable method to defeat our Alliance Master. It's not glorious at all. If you really want to challenge him, come back when our Alliance Master has recovered. Get lost. The disciples of the martial arts school roared. Hearing the words of the disciples of the martial arts school, Taro Sato's worries were relieved. It seemed that Hong Yunji was really injured. Are you saying that you don't dare to accept my challenge? Taro Sato smiled and said, it's fine if you don't agree. However, you have to announce to the martial arts world in Jiang City that your Heavenly Path Martial Arts School is inferior to our Ichiki Karate Dojo. Bastard, what nonsense. Bullshit. How are we inferior to you? Hearing this, the disciples of the martial arts school were incensed. Meanwhile, Yang Luo sneered in his heart. This guy was really despicable and shameless. However, Hong Yunji raised his hand and loudly replied, Sato Taro, since you insist on fighting, I'll fulfill your wish. However, if you lose, you have to apologize to my disciples. Also, you're not allowed to step into our Heavenly Path Martial Arts School again. Of course I can. Sato Taro smiled and nodded. President, are you really going to agree? Then what about your injuries? The disciples looked at Hong Yunji with worried expressions. Don't worry, I'm fine. Hong Yunji waved his hand. Seeing how confident the Alliance Master was, the disciples did not say anything else and dispersed. The disciples of Ichiki Karate Dojo also opened up a space. The moment the disciples dispersed, Sato Taro did not even pay respects to the opponent. He moved like a cheetah and pounced at Hong Yunji. Despicable. Shameless. He does not care about morals at all. The disciples of the martial arts school cursed. However, Taro Sato did not care about their comments at all. Instead, he continued to charge forward. Dang, dang, dang. Every step he took caused the thick stone bricks in the martial arts arena to tremble and raise waves of dust. In less than 3 seconds, Sato Taro had leapt more than 10 meters in front, rapidly approaching Hong Yunji. Huh! He leaped and roared. His right hand formed a palm and cut down at Hong Yunji's head. With a strike of his palm, a strong wind blew in the surroundings, and a sonic boom was created. However, just as Sato's palm struck down, Hong Yunji raised his right arm to block. Bang! Sato Taro's palm landed heavily on Hong Yunji's right arm, but only a muffled sound was produced. This palm strike was extremely powerful and directly shattered a stone brick under Hong Yunji's feet. Seeing that his attack had missed, Sato quickly changed his move. The moment he landed on the ground, he raised his right leg and swept it towards Hong Yunji's waist like a steel whip. Hong Yunji reacted again. He swung his left arm down and blocked it again with another loud bang. After blocking this kick, Hong Yunji pounced forward and punched towards his opponent's chest. Form intention fist? Seeing Hong Yunji's punch, Yang Luo immediately understood. It turned out that Hong Yunji was a practitioner of the form intention fist. This fist style was an ancient technique passed down in China. It was a combination of hard and soft moves and was very domineering. Seeing Hong Yunji's punch, Sato Taro's pupils constricted and he hurriedly raised his arms to block it. But with a loud bang, Sato Taro was sent flying. He staggered back more than 10 meters before stabilizing himself. However, Hong Yunji did not stop there. Instead, he rushed forward and brought the offensive to Sato Taro. Humph. Sato grunted heavily and mobilized all his strength. Then, he turned his palm into a fist and threw a punch at Hong Yunji. This punch was incomparably ferocious. The air seemed to have exploded, emitting crackling sounds. "President, be careful. President, get out of the way." The disciples of the martial arts school jumped with fright, calling out loudly. If the Alliance Master was not injured, they would not be worried. But now, the Alliance Master was injured. However, Hong Yunji did not dodge or evade. He also twisted his fist and met the attack head-on. Thud! The two fists collided with a muffled sound. Sato was forced to take 7 or 8 steps back, while Hong Yunji only took half a step back. Soon, Sato Taro stabilized himself once more and threw punch after punch at Hong Yunji. Hong Yunji calmly parried all of Sato's punches. The more Sato Taro fought, the more apprehensive he became, and the more furious he became. Wasn't Hong Yunji injured? Why did he still have such combat strength? Moreover, he felt that Hong Yunji's combat ability had improved a lot compared to a week ago. "I won't lose to you this time." Sato Taro roared as he pushed his strength to the limit and threw another punch. Hong Yunji's expression did not change. He merely twisted his fist again and met the attack head-on. This punch was incomparably terrifying. A layer of white truchi lingered on the fist as if it had transformed into a tiger head. Sato turned pale with fright. He wanted to withdraw his fist and dodge, but it was too late. Thud! The two fists collided heavily, and the sound was as if a thunderclap had exploded on the ground. The next second, arg! Sato Taro cried out in pain and was sent flying. With a bang, he fell more than 10 meters away. Head! The disciples of Ichiki Karate Dojo rushed forward and helped Sato up. As Sato Taro stood up, a piercing pain came from his right arm, and the blood in his body was churning. He looked at Hong Yunji in a daze and said, "Your cultivation broke through?" "That's right." Hong Yunji stood with his hands behind his back and said, "I've already stepped into the Grandmaster realm." As soon as these words were spoken, the disciples of the martial arts school were overjoyed. "President, is what you said true? You've entered the Grandmaster realm." "That's great. The president has finally stepped into the Grandmaster realm." The disciples waved their fists excitedly. Sato Taro said in disbelief, "Aren't you injured? How can you still break through?" Hong Yunji glanced at Yang Luo and said, "It's all thanks to Mr. Yang that my injuries can improve and my cultivation can break through." Sato Taro took a deep breath and said, "I admit defeat in this battle. Let's go." As he spoke, Sato Taro led his disciples and prepared to leave. "Stop right there," Hong Yunji shouted and led everyone up. "What else do you want?" Sato Taro frowned. Hong Yunji said in a deep voice, "We agreed just now that if you lose, You have to apologize to my disciples. Don't tell me you want to shirk responsibility. You. Sato stared at Hong Yunji and heaved a sigh of relief. All right, I apologize. With that, he bowed towards Hong Yunji and the others. However, the moment he bent down, a vicious look flashed across his eyes. A dagger slipped out of his right sleeve and he stabbed towards Hong Yunji's chest. Father. Alliance Master. When Hong Zakai and the disciples saw the dagger in his hand, they cried out in surprise and wanted to stop him. However, Sato Taro's speed was too fast. They were already too late. Even Hong Yunji could not react quickly. After all, he did not expect Sato Taro to be so sinister. But just as the dagger in Sato Taro's hand was about to stab into Hong Yunji's chest, swish! A silver needle whistled over and hit the dagger with a ding. Sato Taro felt a sharp pain in his wrist, and the dagger flew out of his hand. Moreover, his body was pushed back a few meters by the silver needle. This scene stunned Hong Yunji and the others. Mr. Yang, you know martial arts? Hong Zakai asked in surprise. He originally thought that Yang Luo's medical skills were extraordinary, but he did not expect Yang Luo to also have learnt martial arts. If Yang Luo didn't know martial arts, the silver needle wouldn't have brought about so much power. Huang Tian and Chao Jixing were also stunned. They had only seen Yang Luo's medical skills all along and did not know that Yang Luo knew martial arts. Even Hong Yunji was also shocked. The move that Yang Luo used just now could only be done by at least Grandmaster Realm Expert. Baka. Sato Taro was instantly enraged and pounced directly at Yang Luo. He had almost succeeded just now. Even if he could not kill Hong Yunji, he could at least severely injure him. However, he did not expect to be interrupted by this brat at the critical moment. Baka your own grandpa. Yang Luo took a step forward and slapped him. Puh. Before Sato Taro could get close, his face was ruthlessly slapped by the slap, and he was sent flying 5 to 6 meters away. Shireni. Sato Taro roared angrily, flipped over, and pounced at Yang Luo again. Hey. Speak like a normal person. Yang Luo slapped Sato again, sending him flying. After sending him flying, Yang Luo moved and instantly appeared in front of him. Then, he reached out with his left hand and grabbed the guy's collar. He lifted him up and slapped him one after another, specifically aimed at the guy's face. I'll call you Baka. Puh. I'll call you Shireni. Puh. I'll call you despicable. Puh. I'll call you shameless. Puh. I'll call you lacking in morals. Puh. In the following period of time, crisp slaps resounded through the martial arts arena, shocking everyone present. Holy sh*T, who is this brother? Isn't he too fierce? Isn't that so? No matter what, Sato is a perfected Khanate realm martial warrior. Now, he's actually beaten to the point of being unable to resist. How is it that he can't resist at all? He's simply being beat up like a dog. The disciples of the Heavenly Path Martial Arts School discussed animatedly and looked at Yang Luo with admiration. The disciples of Ichiki Karate Dojo wanted to come up and help, but they did not dare to move after Hong Yunji gave them a look. After dozens of slaps, Yang Luo directly threw Sato Taro to the ground and shouted, "Hurry up and kneel down and apologize." At this moment, Sato had already been beaten into a pig's head. His face was swollen and bleeding from his mouth and nose. Several of his teeth had been knocked out. I apologize. Stop hitting me. Sato was so scared that his entire body was trembling. He hurriedly knelt down and apologized. I'm sorry. It couldn't be helped. This kid in front of him was too terrifying. In front of him, he had no power to fight back at all. Get lost. Yang Luo waved his hand. Yes. Sato Taro gulped, got up, and fled the martial arts school with his disciples. After Sato Taro and the others left, the entire martial arts field fell silent. Hong Zakai said in admiration, Mr. Yang, I didn't expect that not only are your medical skills superb, but your martial arts strength is also so powerful. Previously, he thought that Yang Luo did not know martial arts. Now, it seemed that not only did he practice martial arts, but he was also stronger than his father. Mr. Yang, may I ask what realm your cultivation is at? Hong Yunji asked respectfully. In his opinion, Yang Luo's cultivation ought to be higher than his. Otherwise, Sato Taro would not have been reduced to this state, unable to retaliate. Yang Luo shook his head and said, "To be honest, one don't know what realm I'm in now." These words were the truth. He did not know what realm the mid-stage foundation establishment realm was equivalent when converted to martial arts. Hong Yunji, however, nodded and said, "Mr. Yang, since you're unwilling to tell me, I won't ask further." Yang Luo felt very helpless about this matter. It was not that he did not want to say it, but he really did not know. However, he did not want to explain further. "Mr. Yang, this is 100-year-old heavenly mountain snow lotus." At this moment, Hong Yunji brought over a wooden box and handed it to Yang Luo. "Many thanks." Yang Luo thanked him and took the box. After obtaining the 100-year heavenly mountain snow lotus, the only ingredient left needed to refine the spirit-gathering pill was the purple dragon root. At the end, Yang Luo, Hong Yunji, and Hong Zikai exchanged contact details before Yang Luo left the martial arts school. After watching Yang Luo leave, Hong Yunji and Hong Zikai looked away and towards each other. "Father, what realm has Mr. Yang stepped into?" Hong Zikai frowned and asked. "I'm not sure either." Hong Yunji shook his head and said, "However, I'm sure that his cultivation level is definitely higher than mine. It's very likely that he's in the late stage of the Grandmaster realm, or even the perfected stage." Late stage Grandmaster realm. Perfected? Hong Zikai's eyes widened. Mr. Yang is only in his early 20s, but he has already stepped into the Grandmaster realm. Isn't this too terrifying? Mr. Yang is definitely not an ordinary person. It's very likely that he's an outstanding junior, nurtured by an ancient martial arts family. Hong Yunji said, "Xiaokai, you must interact more with Mr. Yang in the future and build a good relationship with him. If Mr. Yang can give you some pointers, your cultivation will definitely rise to another level." "Yes, father." Hong Zikai nodded heavily. After leaving the martial arts school, Yang Luo called Su Qimei. After finding out that the woman was still in the company, he asked Huang Tian to send him to the entrance of Hua Mei Biomedical. Huang Tian wanted to treat him to a meal, but he rejected him directly. After getting out of the car, Yang Luo placed the 2 wooden boxes into his storage ring and walked into the company. He then took the elevator all the way to the 28th floor. It was already evening and most of the employees in the company had left. Yang Luo went straight to the president's office and knocked on the door. "Please come in." Su Qingmei's voice sounded. Yang Luo pushed open the door and walked in. He saw Su Qimei busy sifting through the work on her desk. The light shone on the woman's flawless face, emitting a lustrous glow. Her facial features were exquisite and peerlessly beautiful. Even if it wasn't because of her pure physique, he still wanted to be with this woman. "Yang Luo, you're back." Su Qimei looked up and was pleasantly surprised to see Yang Luo enter. She quickly got up and walked over as she excitedly blabbed, "Yang Luo, thank you so much for today. If not for you, we wouldn't have received the Qin family's respect. If not for you, our Hua Mei Biomedical might really have been forced to a dead end by Dingxing Biomedical this time. Moreover, Team Leader Lu said that if we use the Youthful Jade Countenance Serum secret recipe to produce products, we will definitely be able to make a comeback and regain the market." Yang Luo smiled and said, "There's no need to thank me. You're my fiancé, so 1 foot 11 inches naturally help you. Moreover, wasn't this our agreement? You said that as long as I can help Hua Mei Biomedical survive this crisis, you will continue to spend time with me." Su Qimei stared at Yang Luo with her beautiful eyes and said, "Yang Luo, I really didn't expect you to give me such a big surprise. Previously, one thought you were joking and bragging, but one didn't expect you to really take out such a priceless secret recipe. In that case, I'm willing to continue interacting with you. If we can make it to the end, we'll get married. If we can't make it to the end, we'll annul the engagement. How about that?" "Sure." Yang Luo nodded. Su Qingmei's beautiful eyes darted around as she asked, "Yang Luo, you've helped me a lot this time. How should I thank you?" "There's no need to thank me. To me, this is nothing." Yang Luo shrugged and said, "If necessary, one can even come up with a better beauty secret recipe." "Huh?" Su Qingmei's beautiful eyes widened. You have a better beauty secret recipe? Of course. Yang Luo grinned and asked, do you know the four ladies, Concubine Yu, De Qiao, Xiao Qiao, and Zhenmi? Of course I'm aware of them. Su Qingmei nodded and said, Concubine Yu is the wife of the overlord of Western Chu, Xiang Yu. De Qiao and Xiao Qiao are the wives of Sun Tzu and Zhou Yu. Zhenmi is Chao Pai's wife. TL note, all the men are from the Romance of the Three Kingdoms, a literary work from Luo Guanzhong. These four are all famous beauties in history. They can be said to be a household name. It's not a problem for me to have heard of them. Yang Luo smiled and said, one have the beauty secret recipe used by these four beauties. What? Su Qingmei trembled and sat up straight in a flash. You have the beauty secret recipe used by these four beauties? Of course. Yang Luo nodded and asked, then do you know the four most famous beauties in history? I do. Su Qingmei nodded in a daze. Aren't they Shishir, Wang Zhaojun, Diao Chan, and Consort Yang? Yang Luo raised his eyebrows and said, I have the beauty secret recipe used by the four beauties as well. Just as he finished his sentence, Su Qingmei walked towards Yang Luo, her face flushed with excitement. Are you telling the truth? Do you really have the beauty secret recipe used by the four great beauties? Of course it's true. Moreover, I still have many secret recipes for health and well-being. Yang Luo laughed dryly and took 2 steps back before sitting on the sofa. Don't be so agitated. You're making me a little flustered. However, Su Qingmei pressed Yang Luo against the sofa. She took a few deep breaths before speaking. Are you sure you're not joking with me? Yang Luo said seriously, I'm telling the truth. Su Qingmei stared intently at Yang Luo, her eyes starting to light up. She had picked up a treasure. She had struck it rich this time round. As long as Yang Luo could take out these secret recipes, it would not be difficult for Hua Mei Biomedical to occupy the overseas market, let alone the Chinese market. Yang Luo couldn't help but shiver. He felt like he was being targeted by a female cougar. There was a moment of silence. Su Qingmei suddenly said, I've decided. Decided what? Yang Luo was shocked by the woman's sudden declaration. Su Qingmei exclaimed, I'll draft a contract now and transfer 20% of my shares to you. Transfer your shares to me. Yang Luo shook his head and said, forget it. You're my fiancé. What's mine is yours. There's no need to be so clear. No way. Su Qingmei interrupted him and said, every secret recipe you provide is priceless. Any one of them can make Hua Mei Biomedical soar. Therefore, one have to repay you accordingly. You must accept these 20% shares. Otherwise, one won't be at ease even if I use your secret recipe. Towards this area, Su Qingmei had considered a lot. After all, she and Yang Luo were only engaged now and had yet to get married, let alone register their marriage. They were not really husband and wife at all. In other words, Yang Luo could leave at any time in the future. However, if she could tie Yang Luo to the company, even if Yang Luo did not marry her in the future, he would still be a part of the company. With that, Su Qingmei hurriedly left the office. Not long after, Su Qingmei walked in with 2 contracts. She sat on the sofa, fetched her signature pen and ink pad, signed the 2 contracts, and pressed her thumbprint down. Then, she handed the signature pen and ink pad to Yang Luo and said, you just need to sign your name and press your fingerprint, and the 20% shares one mentioned will be yours. In other words, you were the 2nd largest shareholder of the company and could enjoy dividends every year. Sign and stamp your fingerprint on it. Yang Luo replied in a helpless tone, Qingmei, actually, you don't have to do this. In the future, even if we really can't be together, 1 foot 11 inches give you all the secret recipes before I leave. No. Su Qingmei stubbornly shook her head. If you don't take the shares, one won't feel at ease. All right, one understand. Yang Luo sighed deeply. Then, he signed the contract and pressed his fingerprint. All right, the contract is in effect. Su Qingmei extended her hand to Yang Luo and smiled. Yang Luo, you're the company's Chairman Yang from now on. Chairman Yang, please guide me in the future. Yang Luo smiled gently and held the woman's hand. Please guide me as well. After putting away the contract, Su Qingmei asked, have you had dinner? Not yet. Yang Luo shook his head. Su Qimei said, coincidentally, one haven't had dinner yet. Why don't one treat you to something delicious? All right. Yang Luo nodded in agreement. After getting an affirmation, Su Qimei picked up her bag and left the office with Yang Luo. They took the elevator to the underground parking lot, and Su Qimei drove Yang Luo out of the company. After driving for more than half an hour, they arrived at a night market street. It was summer now, and the night market street was very lively. Many people were drinking and eating skewers all around the area. After parking the car, Yang Luo followed Su Qimei into the night market street. There were all kinds of small shops on both sides of the street. There were all kinds of food, drinks, and entertainment. As the two of them walked side by side on the street, Su Qimei naturally attracted the attention of many men. As for Yang Luo, he was completely ignored. In their eyes, Su Qimei was a beautiful flower, while Yang Luo was a pile of cow dung. Soon, Su Qimei stopped at the entrance of a food stall. Let's eat here. Huh? Yang Luo was stunned and looked at Su Qimei strangely. Su Qimei seemed to have seen through Yang Luo's thoughts. She smiled and asked, "Do you not think that one, the president of a big company, will actually bring you to eat at a roadside stall?" Yang Luo nodded. That was indeed what he thought. Su Qimei blinked her beautiful eyes and smiled. Although I often go to big restaurants to dine, one occasionally come to eat at roadside stalls. Let me tell you, I've almost eaten every type of food in this night market street. The taste of this food stall is not bad. Try it and you'll know. As she spoke, Su Qimei naturally found a table and sat down. Yang Luo followed. Little Su, you haven't been here for a long time. At this moment, a middle-aged woman walked over. Su Qimei smiled and said, Auntie Zhang, I've been busy recently, so one didn't come. Since one have the time today, one decided to drop by. Is this your boyfriend? Auntie Zhang turned to look at Yang Luo. Yang Luo corrected her, it's not boyfriend. I'm her fiancé. What? Fiancé? Auntie Zhang was instantly stunned. Then, she giggled, Little Su, one didn't expect you to even have a fiancé after not seeing you for a while. All right. Auntie told you long ago to quickly find a boyfriend so that you could have someone to rely on. Auntie will treat you tonight. Order whatever you want to eat. Su Qingmei's pretty face turned red the moment Yang Luo spoke. She wanted to defend herself, but what Yang Luo said was the truth. She did not know how to defend herself. Hence, she glared fiercely at Yang Luo, signaling him not to spout nonsense. Yang Luo pretended not to see it and drank his water casually. Seeing his infuriating behavior, Su Qimei took a deep breath and picked up the menu to order. After ordering a few dishes, Su Qimei turned to Yang Luo, Do you want a beer? Yang Luo shrugged and said, I'm fine with anything, but can you drive after drinking? There's such a thing as a designated driver. It's fine. Su Qimei waved her hand and ordered a few bottles of beer. After ordering, Su Qimei called out to the shopkeeper, Auntie Zhang, this is all one want. All right, wait a moment. Auntie Zhang responded and left. After Auntie Zhang left, Su Qimei stared straight at Yang Luo and hesitated. Yang Luo rubbed his nose and said, Qimei, if you have something to say, just say it. Don't keep staring at me like this. I know I'm handsome, but 1'11" feel embarrassed if you keep staring at me like this. Narcissistic. Su Qimei rolled her eyes and said, Yang Luo, I'm very puzzled. You clearly have such superb medical skills, so many priceless secret recipes, and your skills are not bad. You don't even need to be engaged to me to do well. So, why did you agree to Grandpa's engagement with me? Yang Luo raised his eyebrows and said, Would you believe me if one said that one agreed because you're beautiful like a fairy? I don't believe you. Su Qimei shook her head and said, After you do well, all kinds of beauties will pounce on you. Yang Luo said half-jokingly and seriously, Perhaps I'll meet countless beauties in the future, but you're the only one for me. Even though she knew that Yang Luo was joking, Su Qimei still felt her heart beat faster and her face burn. She turned her head and said angrily, If you don't want to say it, then forget it. Yang Luo smiled and said, There's indeed a reason why one got engaged to you. However, one can't tell you now. You'll know in the future. Fine. Su Qimei nodded and said, I hope you can tell me in the future. I don't like to be deceived. Understood. Yang Luo nodded. After a while, plates of dishes and stacks of skewers were served. Su Qimei opened a bottle of beer and poured a glass for herself and Yang Luo. Then, she raised her glass. Yang Luo, thank you for providing such a good secret recipe and letting me see the bright future of Hua Mei Biomedical. Cheers. Cheers. Yang Luo also raised his glass. They clinked glasses and downed a glass of cold beer at the same time. Huh. Su Qimei let out a long breath of satisfaction as she murmured, I've been under too much pressure recently. It's only today that I can finally relax a little. After the company recaptures the market, we'll have a good drink. How about that? All right, I'll listen to you. Yang Luo smiled and nodded. In the following period of time, Yang Luo and Su Qimei ate, drank, and chatted. In the workplace, this woman was the high and mighty president, a strong career woman. But after work, she turned out to be very grounded and down to earth. This also allowed Yang Luo to see Su Qimei's true side. It was precisely because of this that his good impression of Su Qimei became stronger. After an unknown period of time, F***ck, get lost. A vulgar voice sounded. Yang Luo turned around and saw a group of hooligans walking over with sticks in their hands. The leader was a man in a flowery shirt and sporting a big gold chain on his neck. Seeing this group of people arrive, many customers were so frightened that they quickly stood up and left. Brother Wang, why are you here? Auntie Zhang's face was filled with smiles as she quickly walked over. The bald man lit a cigarette and said, Sister Zhang, when are you guys going to pay? Huh? Auntie Zhang was stunned for a moment and said, Brother Wang, didn't I hand it over at the beginning of the month? Why do I still have to hand it over? The bald man sneered and said, the market is different now. You have to pay twice a month. Hurry up and take out 5,000 yuan. What? 5,000. Auntie Zhang's expression changed. Brother Wang, I paid 5,000 yuan at the beginning of the month. Why do I have to pay 5,000 yuan now? Can you lower it? Not a single cent less. The bald man shook his head and said, hurry up and get the money. This. Auntie Zhang was instantly put in a difficult position. She was originally running a small business, so for her to hand over 10,000 yuan a month, she truly felt the pinch. What the F***ck? The bald man suddenly shouted angrily and kicked a table over, hurry up and pay up, or I'll smash your shop. Auntie Zhang begged, Brother Wang, I didn't earn much this month. Please, can you reduce it? Cut the crap. The bald man cursed angrily and slapped Auntie Zhang's face. Auntie Zhang cried out in pain as she fell to the ground. Bastard, how dare you hit my wife? I'll fight you to the death. At this moment, a middle-aged man rushed out of the shop and pounced on the bald man. F***. The bald man only shouted coldly before kicking the middle-aged man away. This guy is just forcing everyone to their deaths. Isn't that so? From collecting money once a month in the past to collecting it twice a month now, and it has increased from 3,000 to 5,000 now. Who can endure such a thing? What can we do? They're from the Eastern Alliance. We commoners can't afford to offend them. Although the onlookers sympathized with the couple, they were helpless to change the situation. They did not even dare to call the police. The bald man became even more smug. He blew out a mouthful of smoke and said, I'll give you 3 minutes to pay up. If you don't hand it over, don't even think about opening the shop again. The countdown begins. Right before he finished his sentence. Ugh. The bald man suddenly screamed and flew out, knocking down a row of tables. The soup on the table spilled all over him. Who the F***ck kicked me? The bald man roared and got up from the ground. I kicked you, so what? Everyone looked in the direction of the voice and their gazes landed on Yang Luo. Meanwhile, by the side, Su Qimei quickly helped the couple up. The bald man walked over with a ferocious expression. Dog, you dare to stand up for them? Do you know who we are? Do you know what will happen to you if you do this? Tell me, who are you? Yang Luo asked calmly. He did not want to meddle in other people's business. However, seeing that Su Qimei had a good relationship with the boss of the shop and that this Auntie Zhang was a good person, he decided to assist them in getting rid of the hooligans. The bald man said fiercely, We're from the Eastern Alliance. This street is under our protection. If you know what's good for you, quickly compensate me with 100,000 yuan and kneel down to apologize to me. I can consider letting you off. Young man, thank you for standing up for us, but these people are not to be trifled with. Hurry up and leave. Auntie Zhang hurriedly walked over with an anxious expression. Yang Luo said, "Don't worry, Auntie Zhang. It'll be fine." As he spoke, Yang Luo looked up at the bald man and said, "I don't care if you're from the Eastern Alliance or the Western Alliance. Get lost. F***ck, dog, since you have a death wish, I'll grant it to you." The bald man became even more furious. He waved his hand and said, "Cripple him." With this order, a group of hooligans held batons and pounced at Yang Luo. But Yang Luo's figure flashed like a tiger entering a wolf pack. In less than a few seconds, he knocked out more than 10 hooligans. Seeing this scene, the surrounding crowd was stunned. Damn, who is this little brother? He's actually so powerful. It's a pity that this little brother offended someone from the Eastern Alliance. He's definitely done for. Everyone whispered. They admired Yang Luo's bravery, but were also worried for him. The bald man was also stunned for a long time before he reacted. He stared at Yang Luo in fear and said fiercely, "Kid, just you wait. I'll call for help." As he spoke, he took out his phone and prepared to make a call. But right at this moment, a black Mercedes-Benz G drove over from afar and stopped at the door. The car door opened, and a tall and strong middle-aged man with a resolute face got out. Seeing this middle-aged man, the bald man trembled in fear and hurriedly went forward. "Brother Wolf, why are you here?" Therefore, this middle-aged man was one of the 5 heavenly kings of the Eastern Alliance, Greedy Wolf, Xiao Sudong. Mad Dog. Xiao Sudong frowned and asked, "Why are you here?" "I'm here to collect money." The bald man nodded and bowed. Then he said, "But that kid just now wanted to stand up for the shop and even injured our brothers. Brother Wolf, you must avenge us and beat that kid up." Puh. In response, Xiao Sudong slapped the bald man's face and sent him flying. The bald man was stunned. However, he did not dare to get angry, only covering his face as he asked, "Brother Wolf, why did you hit me?" "I'm F***king hitting you because you deserve it." Xiao Sudong roared angrily and kicked the bald man to the ground. A while back, Master Long had instructed him to invite Yang Luo over to recruit him into the Eastern Alliance. However, who knew that another fool from their territory would offend Yang Luo again? This made him very angry. What if Master Long's plans were ruined? He quickly walked towards Yang Luo and bowed slightly. "Mr. Yang, Master Long invites you." Seeing this scene, everyone present was dumbfounded, although they did not know Xiao Sudong. However, when they saw how respectful the bald man was to Xiao Sudong, they knew that this middle-aged man was definitely a big shot. But this big shot was so respectful in front of that young man. Then did that not mean that this young man was an even bigger figure? This thought was especially clear in the minds of the bald man and his hooligans. They were trembling all over and were so frightened that their souls were about to fly away. Other than Master Long, they had never seen Brother Wolf so respectful to anyone. They couldn't help but wonder who this young man was. Even Su Qimei was puzzled. She knew that Yang Luo had beaten Xiao Sudong up previously and embarrassed him at the engagement banquet. Logically speaking, Xiao Sudong should hate Yang Luo very much, but why was he being so respectful today? Yang Luo was also puzzled. He frowned and said, "Why did Jiang Tianlong invite me?" Xiao Sudong smiled and said, "Mr. Yang, Master Long said that he wants to invite you for a discussion." Yang Luo's expression turned even more strange. "Didn't your Eastern Alliance want to kill me? Why do you want to talk to me now?" Xiao Sudong smiled and said, "Mr. Yang, Master Long has said that he doesn't want to kill you. He admires you very much, so he wants to talk to you." Yang Luo thought for a moment and planned to go with this guy to see what that so-called Master Long was up to. At the thought of this, Yang Luo said indifferently, "It's fine if you want me to go with you. However, don't accept the money from the shop in the future." Xiao Sudong nodded and shouted at the bald man, "Stupid thing, if you dare to come here again in the future, I'll break your legs." The bald man was so frightened that he broke out in cold sweat. He quickly said, "Brother Wolf, I won't come to this shop again. I won't come again." Yang Luo looked at the bald man and said, "Also, how much money did you take from the shop? Return it all now and apologize to the owner of the shop immediately." Brother Wolf, this. The bald man was a little unwilling. "What are you waiting for?" Xiao Sudong only shouted coldly. "Yes, Brother Wolf." The bald man responded and quickly handed Auntie Zhang a bank card. "Sister Zhang, I'm sorry. There's a total of 100,000 yuan in this card. The card number is 6 zeros. Please accept it." Auntie Zhang looked at the bank card in a daze, not daring to take it. By her side, Su Qimei said, "Auntie Zhang, accept it." Auntie Zhang's eyes turned red as she took the bank card. She looked at Yang Luo and choked, "Little brother, thank you, thank you." Yang Luo nodded at Auntie Zhang and said to Xiao Sudong, "Let's go." As he spoke, Yang Luo walked towards the car. "Yang Luo, I'll go with you." Su Qimei was about to follow suit with him. "Go back quickly. I'll go home after I'm done." Yang Luo only threw down this sentence before getting into the car. He didn't know what would happen if he went to see Jiang Tianlong. If there was a conflict with Jiang Tianlong, there would definitely be a battle. Therefore, he did not want Su Qimei to take the risk with him. Very quickly, Xiao Sudong also got into the car, started the car, and left the night market street. After leaving the area, the car drove straight out of the city. On the way, Yang Luo sat in the back seat and asked, "Tell me, why is Jiang Tianlong looking for me?" Xiao Sudong replied, "Mr. Yang, you'll know when you get there." Yang Luo smiled and said, "Mr. Qiao, did Jiang Tianlong set up an hangmen feast and wait for me to come?" TL note, hangmen feast basically means an ambush or a treacherous plot. Xiao Sudong's heart skipped a beat, but he smiled and said, "How can that be? Mr. Yang, you're thinking too much." "Really?" Yang Luo leaned comfortably in the back seat and said, "Even if you really set up an ambush for me, I'm not afraid. It's a good opportunity to settle our grudges." Hearing this, Xiao Sudong fell silent. Actually, he was also very surprised when Yang Luo agreed to go with him. He had never seen such a bold person. After all, once they arrived at the Dragon Bay Manor, it would be the Eastern Alliance's territory. No matter how strong Yang Luo was, with the 5 heavenly kings and Master Long around, this guy would not be able to walk out of the manor alive. They continued with the rest of the journey in silence. The car drove for more than an hour before arriving at the Dragon Bay Manor. Dragon Bay Manor was located at the border of the city. At night, it was very quiet here. There was no one within a radius of 5 kilometers. After the car stopped at the entrance of the manor, Yang Luo followed Xiao Sudong out of the car. "Brother Wolf." The bodyguard in black guarding the door greeted Xiao Sudong respectfully. Xiao Sudong nodded and brought Yang Luo into the manor. The manor occupied a very large area. After passing by the rockery, lake, and arch bridge, the two of them arrived at the backyard. From their area, a house in the backyard was brightly lit. When Yang Luo and Xiao Sudong stepped in, everyone in the hall turned to look. The person sitting at the head of the hall was Jiang Tianlong. There were 4 men sitting on the chairs on both sides. They were Black Tiger Gao Zhenhu, Violent Bear Zhang Yunsheng, Berserk Lion Wang Jingquan, and Venomous Snake Li Dongqing. At this moment, Jiang Tianlong and the others were sizing up Yang Luo with interest. Although they had long known that Yang Luo was very young, they were still very shocked when they saw him with their own eyes. At this age, was this kid really a Khanate realm martial warrior? To be honest, they did not believe it. While Jiang Tianlong and the others were sizing up Yang Luo was also sizing up the 5 of them. With just a slight perception, he knew that these 5 people were all martial warriors and could sense their cultivation levels. Jiang Tianlong's cultivation was at the mid-stage Khanate realm. Gao Zhenhu and Zhang Yunxing's cultivation levels were at the perfected acquired realm level, whereas Wang Jingquan and Li Dongqing's cultivation levels were the same as Xiao Sudong's. They were both at the late-stage acquired realm. "Master Long, Mr. Yang is here." Xiao Sudong bowed slightly to Jiang Tianlong. Jiang Tianlong nodded and looked at Yang Luo. He smiled and said, "Mr. Yang, you're young but full of courage. You actually dare to come to my Dragon Bay Manor alone. Not bad, not bad. Yang Luo chuckled and said, could it be that this is a tiger's den, an unapproachable territory? Jiang Tianlong chuckled and said, although my place isn't a dragon's pool or a tiger's den, no one dares to come here. Not to mention after offending someone from our Eastern Alliance. Yang Luo shrugged and said, the reason why I dare to come is entirely because in my eyes, you guys are no threat to me at all. Since I can't pose a threat, why don't I dare to come? Right after he finished his sentence. How dare you? Insolent. Gao Zhenhu and the others were furious and shouted. Yang Luo's words were clearly looking down on them, which really made them angry. If it wasn't for Master Long's intention to rope this kid in, they would have attacked him directly. Jiang Tianlong raised his hand, indicating for everyone to be quiet. He narrowed his eyes and stared at Yang Luo. Mr. Yang, if it were anyone else who said this in front of me, they would already be dead. However, because I admire you, Mr. Yang, I'm willing to give you a chance. Yang Luo met Jiang Tianlong's gaze straight and simply said, all right, stop beating around the bush. If you have anything to say, just say it. Mr. Yang is indeed straightforward. In that case, I'll be direct as well. Jiang Tianlong nodded and said in a trembling voice, Mr. Yang, I admire your courage and skills, so I want to invite you to join our Eastern Alliance. As long as you're willing, not only can the grudge between you and our Eastern Alliance be written off. Moreover, I'm also willing to let you be the sixth heavenly king of our Eastern Alliance. As soon as these words were spoken, Gao Zhenhu and the others' expressions changed drastically. Master Long, this kid has not contributed anything to our Eastern Alliance. I'm afraid it's not appropriate to let him be a heavenly king, right? That's right, Master Long. I'm afraid our brothers won't be convinced if we let this kid be a heavenly king. Master Long, please reconsider. Gao Zhenhu and the others spoke up one after another. Clearly, they looked down on Yang Luo and felt that he did not have the right to be at the same ranking as them. Without waiting for Jiang Tianlong to speak, Yang Luo said, wait, you guys are making such a big fuss. Did you ask if I agreed in the first place? Gao Zhenhu sneered and said, kid, this is your only chance to reconcile with our Eastern Alliance. It's also your chance to soar into the sky. Why would you not agree? Jiang Tianlong and the others also looked at Yang Luo, not knowing what he meant by his words. Yang Luo shook his head and said, I really have no intention of joining your Eastern Alliance. Mr. Yang, are you sure you don't want to reconsider? Jiang Tianlong stared intently at Yang Luo and said, if you join our Eastern Alliance, you will obtain supreme power and status, and you will even enjoy endless wealth. Yang Luo smiled teasingly and said, you want me to join the Eastern Alliance? Sure, but I have a condition. What is it? Jiang Tianlong picked up his teacup and took a sip of tea. As long as it's not an overboard request, I can promise you that. Yang Luo said, how about you abdicate and let me be the leader of the Eastern Alliance? Upon hearing this, Gao Zhenhu and the others were instantly infuriated. B** starred, who do you think you are? Do you want to be the leader of the Eastern Alliance? Master Long, I think this kid is deliberately playing with you. Master Long, don't waste your breath on this kid. Kill him. Gao Zhenhu and the others stood up one by one and shouted angrily. Jiang Tianlong's expression also completely darkened. He slammed the teacup in his hand on the table and said in a deep voice, kid, I'm sincerely inviting you to join the Eastern Alliance. Since you don't know how to appreciate favors, the grudge between you and our Eastern Alliance should be settled then. Oh. Yang Luo chuckled and said, then how do you want to settle it? Leave your life behind. Jiang Tianlong spat out 4 words. The smirk on Yang Luo's face intensified. You guys don't have the right to kill me. Do it. Jiang Tianlong waved his hand and gave the order. You have a death wish. Kill him. Gao Zhenhu, Zhang Yunxing, Wang Jingquan, and Li Dongqing moved at the same time and rushed towards Yang Luo. Qiao Sudong sighed in his heart, but rushed towards Yang Luo as well. Although he was unwilling to fight Yang Luo, Jiang Tianlong had already given the order, so he had no choice but to attack. At the very front, Gao Zhenhu rushed forward and threw a punch at Yang Luo. With a punch, the sound of a tiger's roar seemed to ring in the air. It was incomparably terrifying. But at the moment Gao Zhenhu's punch arrived, Yang Luo did not dodge or retreat. He also twisted his fist and faced the attack head-on. Ping! Only a loud sound was heard when their fists clashed. Wah! Gao Zhenhu let out a painful cry. His right arm snapped with a sickening crack, and he was sent flying more than 10 meters away. When Gao Zhenhu was sent flying, Zhang Yunqing took the chance and punched out from the side. Zhang Yunqing's punch was extremely violent, even creating sonic booms. However, Yang Luo simply grabbed Zhang Yunqing's wrist with his right hand and threw him out like a sandbag. Zhang Yunqing's 1.9-meter-tall strong body was sent flying and hit a wall with a loud bang. The thick wall actually cracked under the impact. Zhang Yunqing fell heavily to the ground. Several bones in his body were broken, and his internal organs seemed to have shifted. At the moment Zhang Yunqing was sent flying, Wang Jingquan, Li Dongqing, and Qiao Sudong formed an encirclement and threw out punches, claws, and palms at the fatal spots on Yang Luo's body. Petty tricks. Yang Luo shook his head in response. Then, he clenched both his fists and punched out quickly 3 times. As soon as he punched out, his aura became incomparably domineering. It was as though he was unstoppable. Before Zhang Yunqing, Li Dongqing, and Qiao Sudong's attacks could approach Yang Luo, their chests were hit by Yang Luo's fist. Bang! 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 A series of dull collision sounds resounded like muffled thunder. Zhang Yunqing, Li Dongqing, and Qiao Sudong screamed and flew out one after another, only stopping after they hit the wall. Gao Zhenhu and the others were all defeated in one blow. Witnessing the scene, Jiang Tianlong was shocked. Unexpectedly, Gao Zhenhu and the others were no match for this kid even after they joined forces. He was almost certain that this kid in front of him was definitely a Khanate realm martial warrior. Give me your life. Jiang Tianlong shouted and suddenly stomped on the ground. His strong body flew up, and then he threw a punch at Yang Luo's face. With this punch, a dragon's roar seemed to resound in the air. There even seemed to be a white dragon shadow coiling around Jiang Tianlong's arm. Dragon form fist? Interesting. Yang Luo smiled faintly, before raising his right arm and throwing out a punch as well. Ping! The 2 fists collided heavily and exploded with a thunderous sound. Jiang Tianlong confidently thought that this punch could kill Yang Luo. However, reality is often not what we dream of it to be. He suddenly felt a piercing pain spread from his fist to his arm. He let out a painful cry as his body was sent flying instead. Yang Luo's figure flashed, leaving after images as he chased after him. Jiang Tianlong flipped in the air and kicked the wall with his right foot. His body whistled through the air as he charged towards Yang Luo once again. On the way to Yang Luo, Jiang Tianlong pulled out a golden dagger that was half the length of an arm from his waist and slashed at Yang Luo heavily. Swoosh! The golden saber streaked across the sky, erupting with a dazzling golden light. The golden dragon pattern on the saber flickered menacingly as the saber slashed down. But precisely at this moment, Yang Luo's right hand turned into a palm and mobilized a trace of true qi. It lingered in his palm as he brought his hand up to meet the saber. Clang! The palm and the golden saber collided heavily, emitting a metallic sound. Sparks even shot out. Under this collision, the golden saber in Jiang Tianlong's hand broke inch by inch, turning into a pile of scrap metal. What? Jiang Tianlong's pupils constricted when he saw this. He wanted to retreat, but it was too late. I'll let you see what a real dragon form fist is. Yang Luo took a step forward before throwing a punch at Jiang Tianlong. Roar! With this strike, a deafening dragon roar resounded in the hall. The phantom of a golden dragon coiled around Yang Luo's arm. The dragon head had even wrapped around Yang Luo's fist, shocking everyone. Bang! This punch landed heavily on Jiang Tianlong's chest, emitting a muffled bang. Wah! Accompanied by a tragic cry, Jiang Tianlong was sent flying like a cannonball. Jiang Tianlong slammed heavily into the wall and fell to the ground, spitting out a mouthful of blood. Although this punch did not kill him, it had severely injured him. In an instant, the entire hotel lobby fell silent. Gao Zhenhu, Zhang Yunqing, Wang Jingquan, Li Dongqing, and Xiao Sudong looked at Yang Luo in fear, and their hearts churned. They never expected that even Master Long would be defeated by Yang Luo. Moreover, Yang Luo seemed to have defeated Master Long extremely easily. He did not use his full strength at all. Jiang Tianlong clutched his chest and looked at Yang Luo in a daze. He said with a trembling voice, "External release of true qi. You're a Grandmaster Realm expert." When Gao Zhenhu and the others heard this, the fear in their eyes intensified. Grandmaster Realm. This kid was actually a Grandmaster Realm expert. One had to know that there was not a single Grandmaster Realm expert in the entire Jiang City. Even the Alliance Master of the Martial Alliance in Jiang City was only about to step into the Grandmaster Realm. Not one expected a Grandmaster Realm expert to suddenly appear in Jiang City. Moreover, he was such a young Grandmaster Realm expert. This was unbelievable and incredible. What's the big deal about a Grandmaster Realm? Yang Luo said with disdain, "Even if a Grandmaster Realm expert comes, I can subdue him with one hand." Upon hearing this, Jiang Tianlong and the others were left speechless. This kid actually said that he could subdue a Grandmaster Realm expert single-handedly? Too arrogant. He was simply too arrogant. Jiang Tianlong took a deep breath and said, "Kid, as the saying goes, the winner is the king, and the loser is the bandit. Since I'm not your match, you can make your move." Gao Zhenhu and the others did not say anything and planned to suicide as well. In front of a Grandmaster Realm expert, they knew that it was useless to resist. "Do you really want to die?" Yang Luo asked with a smile. "If we can live, who wants to die?" Jiang Tianlong replied and gritted his teeth. "However, kid, don't be smug. We are King Jinnan's men. If you kill us, King Jinnan will definitely not let you off. No matter how strong you are, you can't be King Jinnan's match." "King Jinnan, is it? I really want to meet this person." Yang Luo smiled faintly in response before saying, "I can spare your lives, but please tell King Jinnan to come to Jiang City to see me. If he's willing to submit to me, I can spare him. But if he's unwilling, I can only kill him and replace him." Therefore, the reason why he wanted King Jinnan to submit to him was because he wanted to use King Jinnan's power to help him find his parents. Upon hearing this, Jiang Tianlong and the others trembled. Their eyes widened as if they had heard something extremely unbelievable. Jiang Tianlong took a few deep breaths and said, "Kid, do you know what you're saying? Do you know what kind of person King Jinnan is? You even dare to make King Jinnan submit to you? Not to mention King Jinnan personally taking action. Even the 12 battle kings under King Jinnan are enough to kill you." By the side, Gao Zhenhu also laughed mockingly. "Kid, don't think that you're invincible just because you have some strength. This world is not as simple as you think. There are many people stronger than you. You don't have to worry about that." Yang Luo shook his head and said, "In short, you just need to deliver the message." After he spoke, Yang Luo turned around and prepared to leave. But at this moment, when the bodyguards guarding the manor heard the commotion, they all rushed over and blocked the door. "Master Long." When they saw Jiang Tianlong and the others, the bodyguards were shocked. What was the situation now? Why were Master Long and the others injured? Could it be that they were all beaten up by this kid in front of them? But how is this possible? Master Long and the 5 heavenly kings were all true martial artists. How could they all lose to this kid? "How dare you injure Master Long? You have a death wish." The leading bodyguard roared, "Brothers, kill this kid." As he spoke, dozens of bodyguards took action and prepared to rush towards Yang Luo. "Halt!" Jiang Tianlong shouted out despite his injuries, stopping these bodyguards. He knew very well how terrifying Yang Luo's strength was. If these bodyguards attacked, none of them would survive. Jiang Tianlong waved his hand and said, "Let him go." "Master Long, this." The leading bodyguard was very indignant. "Let him go." Jiang Tianlong roared. "Yes, Master Long." The leading bodyguard responded, before making way. The other bodyguards also stepped aside. Yang Luo smiled at Jiang Tianlong. "No wonder you can sit in this position. You have some brains." After he spoke, Yang Luo turned around and prepared to leave. However, halfway through, Yang Luo turned back. "What else do you want?" Seeing Yang Luo return, Jiang Tianlong trembled in fear. Could it be that this fellow wanted to go back on his word and kill them? Gao Zhenhu and the others also turned vigilant. If Yang Luo really wanted to kill them, they would not hesitate to fight to the death. Yang Luo curled his lips and said, "Your place is too remote. I definitely can't get a taxi back to the city now. Therefore, lend me a car. I'll return it to you when I have time." Qiao Sudong took out a car key from his pocket and handed it to Yang Luo. "You can drive the black Mercedes-Benz parked outside." "Thanks." Yang Luo smiled and took the key before leaving. After Yang Luo left, Gao Zhenhu said in a deep voice, "Master Long, do we really have to listen to this kid and tell King Jinnan about this?" "Of course, we can't alarm King Jinnan." Jiang Tianlong shook his head. "Even if this kid is a Grandmaster realm expert, he's not worth King Jinnan coming to Jiang City personally." "Then are we going to let that kid go?" Zheng Yunsheng gritted his teeth and said, "When has our Eastern Alliance ever suffered such humiliation? We've always been the ones stepping on others, but we've never been stepped on before." Jiang Tianlong pondered for a moment and said, "This kid is very ambitious. He's an unstable factor. If we want to get rid of this kid, we have to get the Southern Sky Chamber of Commerce, the West Wind Chamber of Commerce, and the Rising North Chamber of Commerce to join forces with us." "Master Long, do you mean to inform the 3 chambers of commerce about tonight's matter?" Wang Jingquan probed. "That's right." Jiang Tianlong nodded and said, "Although these 3 chambers of commerce have a competitive relationship with our Eastern Alliance Chamber of Commerce, they are also working for King Jinnan. We are ultimately under one umbrella. Now that that kid has bullied us and insulted King Jinnan, they will definitely not sit back and do nothing." "Understood." Gao Zhenhu responded and said, "I'll inform the presidents of the 3 chambers of commerce in the next 2 days." It was 11 o'clock at night. Imperial River Court, Villa Number 8. Su Qimei, Qin Yimo, and Wei sat on the sofa as they waited for Yang Luo to return. However, as time passed, there was still no movement outside. Yang Luo hasn't returned yet. Could something have happened? Su Qimei frowned anxiously. Although she did not have much feelings for Yang Luo, he was still her fiancé after all. Moreover, Yang Luo had helped her company a lot, so she naturally could not sit back and do nothing. Qin Yimo comforted her. "Qimei, don't worry. Mr. Yang will definitely be fine." Su Qimei worriedly replied, "The Eastern Alliance has always been lawless. Moreover, Yang Luo has also offended them. Jiang Tianlong definitely did not have any good intentions when he invited him tonight." "I'd better call Grandpa." Qin Yimo nodded and said, "All right, I'll call my grandpa too." However, just as Su Qimei and Qin Yimo took out their phones and were about to make a call, there was a noise outside. "Yang Luo is back?" Su Qimei was delighted. She quickly stood up and ran to the door to open it. Qin Yimo and Wei also looked up at the door. They only saw a black Mercedes-Benz G drive in from outside and park in the courtyard. The car door opened and Yang Luo got out. "You're finally back." Seeing Yang Luo, Su Qimei finally felt relieved. "Qimei, Miss Qin, Miss Wu, why aren't you asleep yet?" Yang Luo walked into the villa with a puzzled expression. Su Qimei huffed angrily, "How can we sleep when you're not back even though it's so late?" Yang Luo smiled evilly and asked, "Qimei, are you worried about me?" Su Qimei blushed and said, "Who's worried about you? Don't flatter yourself. I'm just worried that if something really happens to you, it won't be easy to answer to Grandpa." Yang Luo raised his eyebrows and said, "Qimei, if you're worried, so be it. Why don't you admit it? You can't be bothered to talk to you anymore." Su Qimei stomped her feet in embarrassment. Qin Yimo just watched the scene with a smile. She felt that the way the two of them bickered was quite fun. Was this what it felt like to be in love? At the thought of this, Qin Yimo's eyes darkened. Su Qimei said, "Tell me, why did Jiang Tianlong call you over?" Meanwhile, Yang Luo walked to the living room and poured himself a glass of water. He took a sip and said, "Jiang Tianlong called me over to invite me to join their Eastern Alliance. He even said that he wanted me to be the 6th Heavenly King of the Eastern Alliance." Huh? Su Qimei, Qin Yimo, and Wei were stunned. "Then did you agree?" Su Qimei hurriedly asked. "Of course not." Yang Luo shook his head. "Then Jiang Tianlong let you go just like that?" Su Qimei continued to ask. "Of course not." Yang Luo shook his head and told Su Qimei and the others what had happened at the Dragon Bay Manor. After hearing Yang Luo's words, Su Qimei and the other two did not know what to say for a moment. Su Qimei took a deep breath and said, "So, you beat up Jiang Tianlong and the 5 heavenly kings of the Eastern Alliance? They knew that they were no match for you, so they let you come back?" "That's right." Yang Luo nodded. Su Qimei took a deep breath and said, "It's over, it's over. Jiang Tianlong is someone that always seeks revenge. Since you hit this time, he definitely won't let you off." Qin Yimo echoed, "That's right. Anyone who offended Jiang Tianlong in the past didn't have a good ending. Don't worry. If they dare to find trouble with me again, I don't mind beating them up again." Yang Luo shrugged and said, "Moreover, just Jiang Tianlong alone is nothing to me. I'm not even afraid of King Jinnan, who is behind Jiang Tianlong." Seeing Yang Luo's indifferent expression, Su Qimei suddenly felt a surge of anger. She looked at Yang Luo and said, "Yang Luo, do you really not know how much trouble you've caused? In Jiang City, other than Jiang Tianlong, there are 3 other leaders. They were all working for King Jinnan. Since you beat up Jiang Tianlong tonight, he will definitely join forces with the other 3 leaders to get rid of you." Yang Luo simply shrugged, then let them attack together. "I'm not afraid of them at all." "You." Su Qimei was so angry that her chest heaved. "Yang Luo, I know you have some skills, but a person's strength is limited. If Jiang Tianlong joined forces with the other 3 heads to deal with you, you would really die. No, I have to inform Grandpa as soon as possible and let him think of a way. I'll also get Grandpa to think of a way. Let my grandfather and Grandpa Su step forward. Perhaps they can resolve your grudge with Jiang Tianlong." Qin Yimo also added in, "There's no need to trouble Old Master Su and Old Master Qin." Yang Luo waved his hand and said, "Believe me, I can definitely handle this matter." Forget it, forget it. You can do whatever you want. I won't care about you anymore." With that, Su Qimei stormed upstairs and closed the door with a bang. "Mr. Yang, aren't you going to chase after and persuade her?" Qin Yimo asked and said, "Qimei is really angry because she's worried about you." "Of course I know that." Yang Luo sighed and said, "However, I've only interacted with Qimei for a short period of time. She ultimately doesn't trust me very much. Actually, be it Jiang Tianlong or the other 3 dragon heads, they're really nothing to me." Qin Yimo sighed deeply and said, "Then prove it to her and let him know that you can solve this matter." "I will." Yang Luo nodded. Qin Yimo nodded and continued, "Then we'll go up first. Do you need help?" Yang Luo asked in curiosity. "There's no need." "Yes." Qin Yimo and Wu spoke at the same time. Wu said, "Momo, if I carry you up, I'm afraid I'll accidentally fall. It's better to let Mr. Yang carry you up." This. Qin Yimo got a little embarrassed. "I'm happy to oblige." Yang Luo smiled and carried Qin Yimo up before she could reject him. At the close contact, Qin Yimo's entire body tensed up and her face turned red. This was the first time she had such intimate contact with the opposite sex. This naturally made her very nervous. As she was only wearing a nightdress, Yang Luo immediately felt a soft touch through the material when he picked her up. This made him feel a little tempted. He quickly suppressed the urge in his heart and focused on carrying Qin Yimo upstairs. Wu followed behind them. After entering the room, Yang Luo gently placed Qin Yimo on the bed. The blush on Qin Yimo's face had yet to dissipate. She quickly lowered her head to hide it as she whispered, "Thank you, Mr. Yang." "No need to thank me. Good night." Yang Luo smiled and replied before leaving the room. After Yang Luo left, Wu teased, "Momo, don't tell me you've fallen for Mr. Yang?" "No, don't talk nonsense." Qin Yimo was shocked and quickly denied it. Wu said, "Then why are you blushing?" "I'm just a little embarrassed." Qin Yimo replied and reminded her, "Xiao Ya, don't say such things in the future." All right. Wu nodded with a smile. It was midnight. Jiang City's Renkai Hospital. This was a private hospital that the Jiang family of Jiang City had invested in. Be it the medical conditions or the medical staff, they were all top-notch in Jiang City and could compare to the first hospital of Jiang City, the Central Hospital. At this moment, in a special care ward, Jiang Mingyu was lying on the bed on an 4 drip. One of his arms and one of his legs were in a cast, and his eyes were filled with pain and anger. A slightly plump, middle-aged man in a white shirt and slicked-back hair was standing by the bed with an extremely gloomy expression. This middle-aged man was Jiang Mingyu's father, Jiang Luo, the current head of the Jiang family. There was a long silence between the both of them. Jiang Mingyu hissed, "Dad, can my right hand and right leg really not completely recover?" "Yeah." Jiang Luo nodded gravely. Jiang Mingyu was his most beloved son, but now his hand and leg had been crippled. The doctor also said that Jiang Mingyu's hands and legs were shattered and could only be treated as much as possible. However, it was impossible to recover to the previous state. No. 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 Jiang Mingyu shook his head vigorously. "Doesn't that mean that I can only be a cripple in the future?" "No, I don't want to be a cripple. I don't want to be a cripple." Jiang Luo said, "Xiaoyu, don't worry. I'll definitely hire the best doctor to treat you." Jiang Mingyu nodded and said fiercely, "Dad, I want revenge. I want to kill Yang Luo and make him wish he was dead. Dad, quickly get Old Wei and the others to kill that bastard Yang Luo." Jiang Luo suddenly turned around and said, "Xiaoyu, Dad will naturally avenge you and kill that kid. However, that kid has the protection of the Su family. Our people can't touch him for the time being. However, you don't have to worry. I'll put a bounty of $30 million on the dark web to kill Yang Luo. In that case, even if that kid is killed, the Su family can't blame us." All right. After those assassins, mercenaries, and bounty hunters smell the smell of money, they will definitely rush to Jiang City one after another and kill that bastard. Jiang Mingyu nodded crazily and said, "However, father, I also want that woman, Su Qimei. Even if I'm crippled, she can only be my woman." Jiang Luo narrowed his eyes and said, "Don't worry, it won't be long before Su Qimei can only obediently throw herself into your arms." Jiang Mingyu was stunned. "Dad, what do you mean?" Jiang Luo said in a low voice, "Now, our Jiang family has formed an alliance with the He family and the Song family, preparing to completely annex the Su family and the Qin family. The cake in Jiang City is only so big. One more family means one more person to share. Therefore, the Su family and the Qin family must be eliminated." "Really?" Jiang Mingyu immediately became excited. Jiang Luo nodded and continued, "However, it will take some time to completely annex the Su family and the Qin family. Therefore, bear with it for a while longer. When the Su family and the Qin family are annexed, that girl Su Qimei will be at your mercy." "Great, that's great." Jiang Mingyu almost jumped up in joy. "Su Qimei, haven't you always been high up in the air? One day, you will kneel down and beg me." Jiang Luo said, "Little you, continue to suppress Hua Mei Biomedical during this period of time. Try to destroy Hua Mei Biomedical as soon as possible and buy it." "Dad, I understand. Even if you didn't say it, I would have done it." Jiang Mingyu nodded and said, "Now, Hua Mei Biomedical can no longer compete with our Dingxing Biomedical. Hua Mei Biomedical is just a company struggling on the verge of death." "That's good." Jiang Luo nodded and said, "Rest well. I'll leave first. If there's anything, contact me at any time." "All right." Jiang Mingyu nodded. Soon, Jiang Luo left the ward. After Jiang Luo left, the excitement and madness in Jiang Mingyu's eyes intensified. He muttered in a low voice, "Yang Luo, let's see how you die this time. Also, Su Qimei, your Su family is finished." The next morning, after breakfast and another round of acupuncture for Qin Yimo, Yang Luo and Su Qimei walked out of the villa. "You're driving today." Su Qimei threw the car keys to Yang Luo. Yang Luo took the key and said in a daze, "Are you sure you want me to drive?" Su Qimei said indifferently, "Didn't you snatch a car from someone last night and drive it back yourself?" Okay." Yang Luo nodded. Then, the two of them got into the car and left the villa. Su Qimei sat in the back row and was originally a little nervous. After all, Yang Luo had never been to a driving school to learn how to drive. However, after driving for a while, she realized that Yang Luo was driving very steadily, so she was relieved. It had to be said that this fellow's learning ability was indeed very strong. She had only taught him a little yesterday, but he had already learned how to drive. Su Qimei said, I'll help you get your driver's license in the next few days. Sure. Yang Luo nodded in agreement. After that, the car fell silent. It was quiet for more than 10 minutes. Then, Su Qimei broke the silence once more. Do you really not need me to tell Grandpa? Yang Luo said helplessly, Qimei, there's really no need. Can you believe me this once? Suit yourself. Su Qimei sighed and shook her head, not saying anything else. She naturally did not believe that Yang Luo could resolve this matter. However, she had made up her mind. If Jiang Tianlong really wanted to kill Yang Luo, she would get her grandfather to step forward and try his best to save Yang Luo's life. Due to the traffic jam, the car drove for nearly an hour before arriving at Hua Mei Biomedical. After parking the car, Yang Luo followed Su Qimei up the elevator as per normal. When they arrived at the 28th floor and the elevator door opened, Su Yan was already waiting there. President Su, something big happened. Seeing Su Qimei, Su Yan hurriedly walked over. What exactly happened? Su Qimei asked in confusion as she walked towards the office. Su Yan followed beside him and reported, President Su, the sales of our company's products continue to fall. Moreover, not long ago, Huaxin Commerce called and said that they wanted to terminate their cooperation with us. Mandy Beauty Corporation wants to terminate cooperation with us. Dongxing E-Commerce wants to terminate cooperation with us. Sinotai Mall removed our products. Along the way, Su Yan reported the various companies that had cut ties with the company. Hearing one by one the companies that had cancelled their cooperation with Hua Mei Biomedical, Su Qingmei's expression turned even uglier. This was undoubtedly bad news for the current Hua Mei Biomedical. In the past few days, the sales of Hua Mei Biomedical's products were declining every day, and they were basically hemorrhaging money daily. And now, all the companies had cancelled their cooperation with Hua Mei Biomedical. That was undoubtedly adding insult to injury. At this moment, the phones in the various work areas were ringing non-stop. The employees were overwrought with anxiety. The call they received was either to cancel the cooperation or to return the goods. Even the bank began to urge them to pay their loans. When she walked into the office, Su Qingmei's body suddenly swayed and she almost fell. President Su, are you all right? Su Yan was shocked. Yang Luo quickly walked forward and supported Su Qimei. Su Qimei supported herself with her hands on the desk and took a deep breath. Su Yan, there's no need to report them one by one. Just say it. How many companies have cancelled their cooperation with us now? Su Yan gritted her teeth and said truthfully, President Su, there are now 18 companies that have terminated their cooperation with us, and the number is still increasing. How did this happen? Su Qimei rubbed her eyebrows and said, this didn't even happen yesterday. Why are these companies canceling their cooperation with us today? Su Yan said, I heard from them that Dingxing Biomedical has threatened everyone, saying that if they continue to cooperate with Hua Mei Biomedical, Dingxing Biomedical will cancel their cooperation with them. Now, Dingxing Biomedical had completely occupied the market in Jiang City. The sales of their products were getting more and more popular. They want to work with Dingxing Biomedical to earn money. They said that there's no future in working with us, so they canceled the cooperation with us. Looks like Dingxing Biomedical is starting to suppress us in all aspects. Su Qimei let out a long breath and said, is there any room for redemption? Su Yan sighed and said, it looks like it's very difficult to salvage the situation now. Those companies are determined to stand on Dingxing Biomedical's side. Why do we have to redeem ourselves? Since they want to terminate their cooperation with us, let them terminate it. Yang Luo, who had been silent, suddenly spoke out. Su Yan said, Assistant Yang, you might not know this, but if all the companies cancel their cooperation with us, it will be very disadvantageous to our company's current situation. Su Qimei also said, Su Yan is right. If there's no company to sell our products, our company's losses will be even greater. If this continues, our company will either be acquired by Dingxing Biomedical or go bankrupt. Yang Luo said, President Su, Assistant Su, believe me, the difficulties are only temporary. When our new product comes on the market, those guys will know how stupid their choice is. I can be sure that our new product sales will be very popular. At that time, they will beg to cooperate with us. Assistant Yang, are you so confident in our new product? Su Yan quickly asked. Of course. Yang Luo nodded and said, I have full confidence in my secret recipe. Su Chimei frowned and said, but there's still at least half a month before the new product is released. I don't know if our company can last for another half a month. Even if we can hold on, when the new product is released, we can't guarantee that the new product will definitely be able to compete with Dingxing Biomedical's products to regain the market. Yang Luo smiled and said, President Su, you have to have confidence in me and yourself. As long as you survive this half a month, you will see a brand new future for Huamei Biomedical. Let's hope so. Su Chimei sighed. Although Yang Luo and Lu Huajun kept saying how powerful the secret recipe of the youthful jade countenance serum was, she was still uncertain of its effects. At this moment, Yang Luo's phone rang. He took out his phone and saw that it was a call from Su Wanqiu. He picked up the call. Little Luo, are you busy now? Su Wanqiu's gentle voice could be heard. I'm not busy. Why? Yang Luo asked in curiosity. Su Wanqiu said, I felt my heart pain come again just now. If you're not busy, I would like to invite you over to treat me. Yang Luo said, no problem. Send me the address. I'll come over now. After hanging up, Su Wanqiu sent the address to Yang Luo's phone. Yang Luo put away his cell phone and said, President Su, I'm going out for a while. What happened? Su Chimei asked. Yang Luo said, your auntie said that she's having her chest pains again and wants me to go over and treat her. Su Chimei hurriedly said, then hurry up and go. Please treat my auntie's myocarditis. Don't worry, it's just a small problem. Yang Luo smiled and replied before leaving the office. After Yang Luo left, Su Chimei said to Su Yan, quickly gather the people from the public relations department to contact various large companies and try your best to salvage the collaboration. Yes. Su Yan nodded and left the office. After the office door closed, Su Chimei picked up her phone and made a call. The call was quickly picked up. President Su, what's the matter? A female voice was heard. Su Chimei said, President Shin, are you free today? I want to talk to you. How about this? I still have time in the afternoon. We'll talk when we meet in the afternoon. All right. Su Chimei agreed and hung up. She turned to look out of the window and muttered, Dingxing Biomedical, our Huamei Biomedical won't be destroyed just like that. At the same time, for C's Commerce, President's office, Li Sihai sat on the sofa and smoked a cigarette. The ashtray in front of him was filled with cigarette butts. Knock, knock, knock. At this moment, there was a knock on the door. Come in, Li Sihai simply said. The door was pushed open and a female assistant rushed in. President Jiang of Dingxing Biomedical wants us to make a choice as soon as possible. If we continue to choose to cooperate with Huamei Biomedical, they will terminate their cooperation with us forever. Moreover, we will also be suppressed by them. Li Sihai replied irritably, I already know about this. I'm thinking about it. President Li, have you thought about it carefully? How should we answer to President Jiang? The female assistant hurriedly asked. Li Sihai took one last deep puff of his cigarette before stubbing it out in the ashtray. Tell CEO Jiang that our Sihai Trading Company will not terminate our cooperation with Huamei Biomedical. What? The female assistant was stunned. President Li, are you not going to reconsider? Nowadays, the sales of Dingxing Biomedical's products were getting increasing to no end. On the other hand, the sales of Huamei Biomedical's products were getting lower and lower. Almost no one buys Huamei Biomedical's products anymore. If we continue to choose to cooperate with Huamei Biomedical, I'm afraid we'll only die. What's more, many companies have already leaned towards Dingxing Biomedical and canceled their cooperation with Huamei Biomedical. There's no need to think about it. I've made up my mind. Li Sihai made a decision and said in a deep voice, Assistant Yang from Huamei Biomedical saved my life. At this critical moment, I naturally have to stand on Huamei Biomedical's side and support Assistant Yang. If Jiang City really doesn't have a place for us to trade in the future, we can just go to other cities and start all over again. President Li. The female assistant wanted to persuade Li Sihai again. Li Sihai waved his hand. You don't have to persuade me anymore. Although I'm a businessman, I know how to repay kindness. All right, I'll reply to CEO Jiang now. The female assistant sighed and left the office. However, what Li Sihai did not know was that the decision he made today would bring him 100 or 1,000 times the reward in the future. After Yang Luo left the company, he took a taxi to the picturesque Jiangnan tea house in the east of Jiang City. This was a luxurious, high-end tea house. The tea house was a total of 3 floors high and occupied a large area. It used a retro design style and was low-key but classy. Because this place was built along the river and the environment was quiet, the people who came here were all elites of Jiang City. Other than drinking tea, they usually discussed business matters. After arriving at the tea house, Yang Luo got out of the car and walked straight into the tea house. Are you here for tea or to look for someone, sir? At this moment, a smiling female attendant walked over. Yang Luo replied, Miss Su invited me over. Are you Mr. Yang? The attendant asked. That's right. Yang Luo nodded. Mr. Yang, please follow me. The attendant said and led Yang Luo to the backyard of the tea house. After passing through a long corridor, 2 carved wooden doors were tightly shut at the end of the corridor. The attendant knocked on the door lightly. President Su, Mr. Yang is here. Show him in. Su Wanchio's gentle voice could be heard. Mr. Yang, please. The attendant gestured for him to go ahead. Yang Luo pushed open the wooden door of the flower carving and walked in. What greeted his eyes was a small courtyard. Although this small courtyard did not occupy a large area, it was clean and tidy without a trace of dust. There were many potted plants planted in the small courtyard. Not far away, there was a pool with many goldfish. At this moment, a woman in a white peony cheongsam with long black hair was bending down slightly. She held scissors in her hand and was trimming the flowers in the potted plant. The cheongsam was very tight. Coupled with the woman bending down, her full figure was perfectly displayed. Yang Luo stood at the back and looked at the woman's beautiful figure. He couldn't help but swallow involuntarily. He took a deep breath before speaking out, Miss Su, I'm here. Su Wanchio straightened her body and turned around. She winked at Yang Luo and said with a smile, Little Luo, you're already engaged to Chimei. Why are you still calling me Miss Su? Shouldn't you call me Andy? The woman had put on some light makeup. The sunlight shone on her face, emitting a lustrous glow that was breathtaking. Well, Yang Luo scratched his head. He really did not know how to address Su Wanchio. Su Wanchio chuckled and said, All right, I won't tease you anymore. Before you marry Chimei, you can call me sister. Okay, Sister Wanchio. Yang Luo nodded and glanced around. He asked, Sister Wanchio, do you own this tea house? That's right. Su Wanchio nodded and said, Other than the East District, there's a picturesque Jiangnan tea house in the South, West, and North districts. I'm in charge of all of them. I see. Yang Luo nodded in realization and said, Sister Wanchio, didn't you say you had chest pains? Why don't I treat you now? Don't worry, I'll definitely cure you completely this time. Then I'll leave it to you. Su Wanchio nodded and placed the scissors on the table at the side. She said, Follow me to my room. Quickly, Su Wanchio brought Yang Luo to a room in the small courtyard. After entering the room, Su Wanchio asked, Little Luo, how should I cooperate with you? Yang Luo said, Sister Wanchio, you just have to lie on the bed and take off your clothes. Huh? Su Wanchio's pretty face turned slightly red. You need me to take off your clothes? Yang Luo laughed dryly and said, Sister Wanchio, don't misunderstand. If you want to completely cure your myocardial inflammation, it's definitely impossible to rely on the massage technique alone. Therefore, I plan to help you using acupuncture. But for this way, you have to take off your clothes. If it was anyone else who said this, she would have asked them to scram a long time ago. However, because she had seen Yang Luo's superb medical skills with her own eyes, she was willing to believe him. All right then. Su Wanchio nodded and said, then turn around first. All right. Yang Luo responded and turned around. After a while, Su Wanchio said, it's done. Yang Luo turned around and saw that Su Wanchio had changed into a silk nightdress and was lying on the bed. She took off the sling on top and wore a piece of undergarment that just covered her upper body. This faintly discernible yet hidden scene only made one's imagination run wild. Yang Luo tried his best to remain calm, but he still couldn't remain completely unmoved. His eyes were fixed on her. Su Wanqiu saw Yang Luo staring at her and said shyly, "Can we start now?" Oh, we can start now." Yang Luo took a deep breath and walked over. Su Wanqiu tried her best to remain calm, but she could not. Thus, she could only resort to closing her eyes. However, her blushing face and rapid breathing gave away her nervousness at this situation. Yang Luo took a few deep breaths and cast aside his wild imagination. Then, he took out a box of silver needles from his storage ring and began to perform acupuncture on Su Wanqiu. In the following period of time, Yang Luo maintained absolute focus. One needle after another was inserted into the acupuncture points on Su Wanqiu's heart, and it trembled slightly. As the silver needle landed, Su Wanqiu felt a warm feeling in her heart. The piercing pain gradually disappeared. Time continued to flow. Although only 10 minutes had passed, it was a form of torture for Yang Luo. No man could remain calm in front of a beauty. Not to mention a man like Yang Luo, who had too much yang energy in his body. When all the silver needles stopped trembling, Yang Luo waved his hand and put away the silver needles. "Sister Wanqiu, the treatment is over." Yang Luo simply spoke. Su Wanqiu opened her eyes and quickly put on her nightdress and sat up. "Has my myocarditis been completely cured?" she hurriedly asked. "It's completely cured." Yang Luo smiled and nodded. "Little Luo, you've cured my chronic illness for many years. I don't know how to thank you." Su Wanqiu was very grateful. No one knew how much pain she had suffered from myocarditis in the past few years. Yang Luo waved his hand and said, "Sister Wanqiu, Qi Mei is my fiancé and you're Qing Mei's auntie. It's only right for me to treat you. You don't have to be so polite. Qi Mei is Qi Mei. I'm me. Showing gratitude is a must." Su Wanqiu replied. She thought about it and said, "Little Luo, why don't we do this? Accompany me to an auction later. At that time, no matter what you like, I'll help you bid for it and give it to you." Yang Luo said, "Sister Wanqiu, you really don't have to be so polite. I can accompany you to the auction, but if I like something, I can buy it myself. You don't have to spend money." "No way." Su Wanqiu shook her head and said stubbornly, "I have to buy it for you." "Then, all right." Yang Luo nodded helplessly.